Chapter 1877. The Endless Ocean wasn't in the Forgotten Continent? What did that mean? Qin Yuan smiled and said, Zhuge Shinfeng is sealed in the Reincarnation Ocean. The Chief Tower Master is sealed in the Endless Ocean. Don't. Lord Guardian, we don't care what the Great Qin does, but you can't harm the Forgotten Continent. The monkey-faced old man hurriedly said. The Chief Tower Master is one of your people, so it's reasonable for him to be sealed in the Endless Ocean. Qin Yuan said. No. These years, the Forgotten Continent has been in a mess because of the Chief Tower Master. We can't let this kind of person stay in the Forgotten Continent. The monkey-faced old man shook his head. Yi Shu and the hook-nosed old man also expressed their opinions. They could either kill the Chief Tower Master directly or seal him in the Great Qin. The Forgotten Continent would not accept this. Qin Yuan looked at the three of them, then looked at the mysterious lady and asked with a smile, What do you think? This. The mysterious lady hesitated. Seeing this, the monkey-faced old man hurriedly said, Miss, this is not a small matter, you must think carefully. The mysterious lady pondered for a while, then looked at the monkey-faced old man and said, Actually, doing this can also be a training for the disciples of the Chief Tower. As expected of the Qin Emperor's wife, you have foresight. Qin Yuan chuckled and said. The old hand grabbed at the air, and Zhuge Shenfeng and the Chief Tower Master's flesh immediately flew into the air and landed in his palm. Miss, you're muddle-headed. The monkey-faced old man sighed. Wasn't this leaving a disaster for the Forgotten Continent? Without pressure, there is no motivation. I believe that the disciples of the Chief Tower will be able to solve all of this. The mysterious lady smiled and said. Seeing that the mysterious lady had made up her mind, the monkey-faced old man could only sigh helplessly. White Dragon, can you stop bullying them? I'm really tired from running around like this. Qin Yuan looked at the snow python and said helplessly. The snow python said angrily, Which eye of yours saw me bullying them? If that's the case, why don't you accompany me to the Endless Ocean? After all, the Forgotten Continent is your territory. I can't make decisions without permission. Qin Yuan smiled. You still know that this is my territory? You want to seal the Chief Pagoda Master in the Endless Ocean? Did you ask me first? The snow python said angrily. Aren't I discussing this with you? Qin Yuan chuckled. You've already made up your mind. How is this a discussion? The more the snow python spoke, the angrier it became. All right, don't be so petty. Actually, the reason why I'm here is because there are some things that I'd like to consult you about. Qin Yuan said. The snow python frowned and glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others before leaving with Qin Yuan. Feiyang, what's the deal with the winged dragon you mentioned earlier? Also, why did Qin Yuan call the snow python a white dragon? After Qin Feiyang and the snow python left, the mysterious lady looked suspiciously at Qin Feiyang and asked. Yinglong is the predecessor of Dong Zhengyang. The white dragon is the true body of the snow python. Qin Feiyang said. What? You mean both of them are Shenlong? The mysterious lady was surprised. Qin Feiyang nodded. Everyone looked at each other. This was too unexpected. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, The state preceptor and the other two have been dealt with. You guys should go back now. What about you? The mysterious lady asked. Qin Feiyang said, I want to walk around. The mysterious lady smiled and said, All right then. When you have time, come to the Central Divine Kingdom to play. Qin Feiyang nodded. The mysterious lady opened a portal and looked at Yi Shu and the others. Let's go. Wait a minute. The monkey-faced old man suddenly thought of something. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a flattering smile, Little guy, there's something we need to discuss. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, Senior, please go ahead. That. The monkey-faced old man stammered as if there was something difficult and he was too embarrassed to speak. You old man. The mysterious lady glared at the monkey-faced old man and said, Feiyang, he wants to ask you if you can return that divine bow to him. Divine bow? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Is it this one? The golden leopard took out a divine bow. Yes. The monkey-faced old man nodded. That won't do. This divine bow has fought with this emperor for so long. This emperor has developed a deep affection for it. The golden leopard held the divine bow and guarded against the monkey-faced old man like he was guarding against a thief. The monkey-faced old man's expression immediately shrank. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. He looked at the golden leopard and said, "Give it to him. Young master, this." The golden leopard was extremely anxious. Zhao Tailai looked at it with disdain, saying, "Are you stupid? Following the young master, you don't have to worry about not having a divine artifact." The golden leopard was stunned, then chuckled. "That's true. Old man, here you go." Saying so, he threw the divine bow to the monkey-faced old man. "Thank you." The monkey-faced old man was ecstatic and thanked him repeatedly. "Then we'll be going." The mysterious lady looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Oh right. If Pei Yi, Li He, and Li Yan are still alive, take good care of them in the future." Qin Feiyong said, "Okay." The mysterious lady nodded and then left with Yi Shu and the others. Zhao Tailai asked, "Young master, where are we going next?" "You guys fought with me as soon as you came out of the divine sight. Now that the battle is over, you guys can go to the 2 continents and have a good time," Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Tang Hai said, "That's what I was thinking." "Then go. When you're tired, come to the Spirit State's Iron Bull Town to find me." "All right, Blood Kirin." When we entered the divine sight, I gave the old man an ancient tower. "Do you know who has it?" Qin Feiyong asked. The Blood Kirin thought for a moment and said, "Are you talking about the space divine item in the old man's hands?" Qin Feiyong nodded. The Blood Kirin said, "When the demon ancestor went into seclusion to fuse with the divine body, he seemed to have given it to Sima Kuan." "Sima Kuan?" Qin Feiyong pondered for a while, then looked at Tang Hai and the others. "I remember that we didn't destroy Sima Kuan's god body. When you go out to play, go to the Sea of Reincarnation. You must find that ancient pagoda." "Is there anything in it?" Zhao Tailai asked. "I buried Ran Wushuang's father in that ancient tower. Since we're going to open the gate of reincarnation, we'll revive him along with it," Qin Feiyong said. "I see." Zhao Tailai nodded and said, "If that's the case, let's go to the Sea of Reincarnation first so that Sima Kuan's divine body won't be damaged by the sea beasts." Sima Kuan is a low-level war god. Those sea beasts can't do anything to his divine body. "But we can find him first." Qin Feiyong smiled. "Then let's go." Qin Feiyong waved his hand and led the group back to the spiritual state. Then they parted ways. Tang Hai and the other 2 went to the imperial capital with the golden leopard and went to the Sea of Reincarnation. Qin Feiyong, on the other hand, opened a teleportation door and descended on top of a large mountain. The mountain was devastated. It had also been destroyed by the mermaid clan. "What is this place?" the Blood Kirin asked curiously. Qin Feiyong said, "This is the Black Bear Mountain. There used to be a Black Bear King here who saved my life. But in the end, he and his children were killed by evil people. I buried them here with my own hands." "You want to revive them too?" the Blood Kirin asked. "Since there's a chance, I'll definitely revive them together. But so many years have passed and the mermaid clan has destroyed them. I don't know if their bodies are still there." Qin Feiyong said and released his immortal will to the mountain below. Soon, a smile appeared on his face. As he waved his hand, the ground below cracked and 2 rotten skulls, one big and one small, broke out of the ground. "Long time no see, old friend." Qin Feiyong looked at the big skull and murmured with a smile. Although the Black Bear King had been dead for many years, with Qin Feiyong's current cultivation, he could tell that these were the remains of the Black Bear King and his son. The Blood Kirin sighed. "You even remember such a small figure. You are indeed a person who values friendship." "How can I forget your kindness?" Qin Feiyong whispered. "Back then he was poisoned. Even the antidote pill couldn't cure him and he almost died. In the end, the Black Bear King used the lifeblood pill to change his blood and saved his life. And the Black Bear King's death was also because of him. So, he had always felt guilty about the Black Bear King's death. At the same time, the death of an old man was also a pain in his heart. This old man was Feng Ling Heir's grandfather, Feng Cheng. Feng Cheng and the Black Bear King died at the same time. But Feng Cheng wasn't buried here. Back then, he gave Feng Cheng's body to Luo Xiong. Luo Xiong was the hallmaster of the Pill Hall in Black Bear City. So, Feng Cheng should be buried in the Pill Hall Cemetery in Black Bear City. But now, Black Bear City had been destroyed by the Merfolk clan. Corpses were everywhere. It wasn't easy to find where Feng Cheng was buried. However, no matter what, he had to find Feng Cheng's remains. After half a day of searching in Black Bear City, he finally found a piece of Feng Cheng's remains. Then, he went to Pan County. He went to Pan County for Fatso. Fatso had followed him for so many years. Even if he didn't contribute, he had worked hard. So, he also wanted to revive Fatso's parents and family. Back then, Situ Hai had brought him to the Situ family cemetery. But when Qin Feiyong arrived at the cemetery, he didn't find a single bone. After all, they had been dead for too long. Their bones had been lost over time and turned into a pile of yellow soil. This made him feel rather regretful. But there was nothing he could do. Without bones, he couldn't be revived. As for the others, for example, Lu Yun, Ji Shui, Elder Wan, Li Ji, and so on, these people had all taken good care of him. And they had all died in this disaster. So, he had already collected everyone's blood. After doing all this, Qin Feiyong returned to Iron Bull Town. There were still many bones buried under Iron Bull Town. Among them was Zhao Shuang-er's grandfather. And he had deep feelings for Iron Bull Town, so he took away all the bones. Finally, Qin Feiyong brought the inner demons and the blood Kirin back to the place where he used to live. This place had also been destroyed by the Merfolk clan. It was beyond recognition. Genius remembered the address of this site in 1 second. Mobile version of reading website, M. Chapter 1878. Looking at the unrecognizable scene, Qin Feiyong's expression was extremely melancholic. The inner demons comforted him. It's all in the past. Don't be sad. Qin Feiyong nodded and smiled. I still prefer this place. The inner demon said, then you can stay here and study the Gate of Rebirth. The Gate of Rebirth had to be fully comprehended to be able to revive billions of lives. You're not going to stop me? Qin Feiyong looked at the inner demons in surprise. Would it work if I stopped you? But I still want to say something. If you open the Gate of Rebirth now, at most, you will completely lose your talent for cultivation and can live for a few more decades. However, if you are to comprehend the Gate of Reincarnation to perfection, you will most definitely lose your life. The inner demons said. I know. But if I open the Gate of Rebirth now, I can't revive everyone. What's the point of doing that? No. Since I've made up my mind to open the Gate of Rebirth, I naturally have to revive everyone. Qin Feiyong smiled. Up to you. The inner demon sighed helplessly. Qin Feiyong said, then help me restore this place to how it was before. The inner demons nodded and turned to the blood Kirin. Come and help. The blood Kirin looked at Qin Feiyong and sighed inwardly. Then, it followed the inner demons and got busy. It also didn't want Qin Feiyong to die. But even the inner demons couldn't persuade him, let alone the blood Kirin. Qin Feiyong entered Ling Yunfei's space treasure. Everything was the same as before. Under an old tree, a giant wolf lay on the ground, exuding an ethereal aura. It was the white-eyed wolf. Because it had been comprehending the profound meaning of becoming a god, it had avoided this disaster. Qin Feiyong observed silently for a while. He did not disturb the white-eyed wolf and went to visit the blood-devouring bees before entering the Black Tortoise world. Above the Devil's Land, 2 blood seas were suspended. A sea of blood. Precisely the blood of the creatures of the 9 great provinces. The other sea of blood was the blood of the living beings of the Black Tortoise realm, deliberately left behind by the inner demons. Young master. The 9 divine beasts guarding the herb field sensed Qin Feiyong's aura and flew up one after another, landing behind Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, and the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood in the castle appeared. Among them were his mother, grandfather, the little prince, old master Ren Wushuang, Yan Wei, and so on. Qin Feiyong looked at the 9 beast emperors and reminded them, you must protect the blood and corpses well. Yes. The 9 beast emperors nodded. Qin Feiyong flashed again and landed in the sky above the desert. In the storm below, a blurry figure stood in the void, constantly devouring the undead around it. That figure was the female undead. Qin Feiyong said, "Haven't you condensed to flesh and blood yet?" The undead raised her head and looked at Qin Feiyong smiling. "When I devour all the undead here, I should be able to condense a flesh and blood." "Then you continue." Qin Feiyong smiled and left the Black Tortoise world, entering the castle. The time laws of the castle were different from before. One day was equal to 1 year. In other words, even if he was in seclusion for 100 years in the castle, only 10 days would have passed outside. Without thinking too much, Qin Feiyong sat cross-legged on the ground, calmed his heart, and began to comprehend the gate of reincarnation. That night, the inner demons and the blood Kirin completed their mission. The lake that had disappeared appeared again. A brand new small courtyard was located next to the lake. At night, the waning moon hung in the sky, and the cold stars dotted the sky. The blood Kirin stood in front of the courtyard and shook its head. "I didn't expect that our god of war would be doing such mundane things. What a waste of talent." The inner demon said, "But don't you feel a sense of accomplishment watching all this?" "A little. And there is a very warm feeling." The blood Kirin nodded. "This is home." The inner demons murmured, "Home." The blood Kirin was silent for a moment. After a while it said, "When I was with the demon Alpha, home was too far away for me. I never thought I could really have it." "Don't you have it now?" The inner demons laughed. "Yes. This emperor will definitely cherish everything that I have now," said the emperor. The blood Kirin said. The inner demons laughed and said, "Not bad. Good awareness. Do you have wine on you? Let's have a few drinks." "Wine? No." The blood Kirin shook its head. "You don't, but I do." A hoarse laugh rang out in the night sky. The inner demons and the blood Kirin looked up and saw an old man in black standing in the void above. The inner demons said in surprise, "Why aren't you enjoying life in the imperial capital? What are you doing here?" It was Elder Qin. "I was afraid that you would be lonely, so I brought you wine." Elder Qin landed beside the inner demons and smiled. "Come on. Don't think that we don't know. You must have been asked by Father to persuade us. Like I said, we are not interested in the crown prince of Great Qin or the throne of the emperor." The inner demons said, "You guessed wrong this time. His Majesty didn't know that I was in the spiritual state. Besides, His Majesty has given up and won't persuade you anymore." Elder Qin smiled. "Really?" The inner demons asked. "More real than real gold." Elder Qin said. "Then we welcome you. Blood Kirin, hurry up and get some game." The inner demons said. "My lord inner demons, the 9 continents have been slaughtered. Where can I get game for you?" The blood Kirin said helplessly. The inner demons said, "Aren't the corpses of those beasts still here?" The blood Kirin quickly waved its claws and said, "No, no, no. It's disgusting to eat them." "Disgusting my ass. You even dare to eat us humans. Why are you afraid of these?" The inner demon rolled her eyes and shouted, "Go and get some beasts with good meat. Otherwise, I'll chop off your claws and serve them with wine. Chilin's claws should taste good, right?" "Right away." Hearing this, the blood Kirin's body trembled. It immediately flew into the sky and disappeared into the night sky. Elder Qin couldn't help but shake his head and laugh when he saw the blood Kirin running for its life. He looked around and asked the inner demons, "Where is Feiyong?" "He is in the castle, learning the gate of rebirth." The inner demons pouted. "Silly boy." Elder Qin shook his head and sighed. "Why do you care? If he wants to die, let him die." The inner demon said coldly. Elder Qin rolled his eyes. "Don't talk nonsense. Bring out the wine. This is the first time I have drunk since I created my body. Tonight, let's get drunk." The inner demons laughed. "Okay. I am willing to risk my life to accompany you." Elder Qin smiled. "How can you drink without me?" Another voice rang out. Lu Zhang flew through the air and landed in front of the two. "Why are you here, kid?" The inner demons was shocked. Hey, hey, hey. I am Qin Feiyong's cousin. Of course, I am your cousin. Can you show some respect?" Lu Zhang said angrily. The inner demons looked at him with disdain. "I am already giving you face by calling you kid. I don't care about that face." Lu Zhang rolled his eyes at the inner demons and bowed to Elder Qin. "Greetings, Elder." Elder Qin smiled and asked, "How is the Lu family?" "Everyone is doing well. The Bai Sima has disappeared. Second Grandpa said that you should visit the Lu family more often when you are free." Lu Zhang said, "There will be plenty of time." Elder Qin smiled. The inner demons looked at Lu Zhang and said, "Kid, about Lu Hong." Without waiting for the inner demon to finish speaking, Lu Zhang said angrily, "Can you not bring up a sore spot?" Okay. I won't mention it. But this time, when Lu Hong is resurrected, you have to seize this opportunity." The inner demon said meaningfully. "Do I need you to tell me that?" Lu Zhang glared at him angrily. Soon, the blood Kirin came back carrying a boar. That night, whether it was the inner demons or Lu Zhang, they were all drunk. Especially the inner demons. The first time he had touched wine, he immediately fell in love with the feeling. "I really don't understand. Wine is such a good thing. Why don't I like it?" "You still don't understand? My little cousin is a person without emotions." I agree with this sentence very much. Those men who don't drink are not men at all. In the future, we two brothers have to work together against outsiders. The inner demons roared. Yes, work together against outsiders. Wait, no, he is the real cousin. You are a fake. But I like you very much. In the future, you are the real one, and he is a fake. The two shook their heads, and their bodies reeked of alcohol. I am the real one. He is a fake. The inner demons asked drunkenly. Yes. Let me tell you, I have disliked him for a long time. He has nothing to do all day, but he always goes to flirt with Honger. If it wasn't for Honger's sake, I would have beaten him to death. Lu Zhang said angrily. I support you. But little cousin, you really like Lu Hong? Of course. My love for her is higher than the sky, thicker than the earth and bigger than the sea. Then roar. Roar a few times. Let me hear it. Okay, roar. Honger, I love you. Honger, I really can't live without you. Come back. Seeing the two of them with their arms around each other's shoulders and crying like ghosts and wolves, Old Qin and the Blood Kirin couldn't help but shake their heads and laugh. I have a feeling that the inner demons will cause a lot of trouble in the future because of drinking, the Blood Kirin said. Old Qin nodded. I feel the same. Old Qin nodded. The Blood Kirin looked at the inner demons and said, Old Qin, there is something I need to tell you. What is it? Old Qin asked suspiciously. The Grand Master is dead, but Zhuge Shenfeng is not. Qin Yuan sealed him in the reincarnation sea. The young master left him as a stepping stone for the little prince. You should pay attention to him. The Blood Kirin said. Old Qin was silent for a while and sighed. Fei Yong has really put in a lot of effort for the little prince. It can't be helped. The little prince is the only heir to the throne. I just hope that in the future, the little prince will not be blinded by hatred and lead the great Qin astray. The Blood Kirin said. Don't worry. I will teach him well. Emperor Hong and His Majesty will also work hard to untie the knot in the little prince's heart. If there comes a day when he becomes unreasonable, I will kill him with my own hands. Old Qin smiled. The Blood Kirin nodded. With Old Qin's words, the future of the great Qin would be assured. Please remember the domain name of this book. Literature Library Mobile Version Website. Chapter 1879. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Old Man Qin and Lu Zhang did not leave during these 10 days. The inner demons did not go to the castle either. They were afraid of disturbing Qin Feiyong. That evening, Zhao Tailai, Cui Li, Tang Hai, and the Golden Leopard came. They were all in high spirits. Old Man Qin smiled. It seems that you guys have had a good time these 10 days. I haven't been so relaxed in a long time. If old Tang didn't rush us back, we would have stayed for a few more days. Zhao Tailai said. Since it's a trip, we should have a good time. Why are you in such a hurry to come back? Old Man Qin was suspicious. I'm worried about the young master. I'm afraid I won't have a chance to see the young master again. Zhao Tailai sighed. Tang Hai frowned. Old Man Zhao, can you shut your mouth? Didn't you say that? Why are you scolding me now? Zhao Tailai was helpless. He looked at the inner demons and the Blood Kirin and asked, "How is the young master now?" The Blood Kirin said, "For the past 10 days, he has been in the castle learning the Gate of Rebirth. He hasn't come out even once." Zhao Tai was silent for a moment and sighed. It seems that the young master is planning to revive everyone. Is there a difference between reviving everyone and reviving only a part of them? Old Man Qin was suspicious. Of course there is a difference. If the Gate of Rebirth is only at the initial stages, then the young master still has a chance to live. But if he has fully mastered the Gate of Rebirth, then he will definitely die when he opens the Gate of Rebirth. Zhao Tai said. "What?" Old Man Qin's eyes trembled. Xueqi said, "That's why we rushed back. We were afraid that we wouldn't even have a chance to see him one last time." "Shut up!" Tang Hai shouted. Zhao Tai and Xueqi looked at Zhao Tai and lowered their heads in silence. The atmosphere at the scene was extremely heavy. There's nothing to worry about. The young master has done so much for Great Qin. I believe that good people will be rewarded. The Golden Leopard smiled. "Yes. Heaven's Eye, of course, will not let a bad person go. Come, come, come. Lord Inner Demon, let's drink together," Zhao Tai said. The atmosphere became lively again. However, the haze on Old Man Qin's face did not dissipate. In the blink of an eye, another 3 months passed. In addition to the previous 10 days, it was a total of 100 days. Of that, Qin Feiyang has already been in seclusion in the ancient castle for 100 years. During this time, Inner Demon, Zhao Tai and the others had been eating, drinking, and having fun. After finishing the wine, he even went to the imperial capital to buy more. In Old Man Qin's eyes, everyone was a little heartless. 3 months later, the weeds sprouted and the young trees took root. More than 2 months ago, the emperor led the Qilin army and the invincible Black Army to the spiritual state to bury the dead people and fierce beasts. The emperor had also come to Iron Ox Town after all. As the ruler of a nation, there were definitely many things waiting for him to deal with after the war. As for the Forgotten Continent, Mu Tianjun didn't order a massacre. So the Central Divine Kingdom, including several major regions, didn't suffer much damage. This morning, as usual, everyone drank until the middle of the night and slept until the sun was high up in the sky. The first person to wake up was Old Man Qin. When he washed up and walked out of the room, he immediately saw a young man in white standing alone by the lake with his hands behind his back, quietly watching the lake. "Feiyang." Old Man Qin was stunned. He quickly took a step forward and landed beside Qin Feiyang, saying, "Are you out of seclusion?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "What about the Gate of Reincarnation?" Old Man Qin asked, looking quite nervous. Qin Feiyang smiled but didn't say anything. In fact, Old Man Qin really wanted Qin Feiyang to tell him that he hadn't comprehended to perfection yet. But the smile on Qin Feiyang's face already explained everything. "Do we really have to do this?" Old Man Qin was silent for a moment, turned to look at the lake, and asked in a hoarse voice. "Even if I unfortunately die, there's still the inner demons." "He's me." Qin Feiyang smiled. His expression was incomparably calm, without the slightest fear of death. "Sigh." Old Man Qin sighed deeply. "Young master?" Zhao Tai was the second to wake up. When he saw Qin Feiyang standing by the lake, he shouted, "Everyone come out quickly! The young master is out!" Whoosh! Immediately, Lu Zhang, Tang Hai, Xueqi, the Golden Leopard, and the Blood Kirin all rushed out. Only the inner demon walked out slowly with a casual look on her face. Xueqi said excitedly, "Young master, when did you come out? Why didn't you wake us up?" "I came out early in the morning. I saw that you were all resting, so I didn't disturb you." Qin Feiyang smiled. Zhao Tai scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. "Young master, I'm sorry. These 3 months It's okay. After all, we've worked hard for most of our lives. It's not easy to have some free time. Of course we should relax." Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. "What about you? Do you want to open the Gate of Rebirth now, or do you want to wait until you relax?" The inner demons asked as he walked over. "These 100 years, I've been relaxed enough, and I can't wait." Qin Feiyang smiled. The inner demon stopped, looked at the sky and sighed. Yes, 100 years have passed in the castle. After saying that, he withdrew his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyong's back. He smiled and said, "Then let's begin." However, before he finished speaking, the inner demon suddenly used the walk formula and landed behind Qin Feiyong. He slapped the back of Qin Feiyong's head. "Inner demons, what are you doing?" Zhao Tai-Lai and the others' faces changed. But in the face of the inner demon's move, Qin Feiyong was not surprised at all. As if he had expected it, he grabbed the inner demon's wrist. The inner demons raised his eyebrows. "You're too naive." Qin Feiyong shook his head. The inner demon's face darkened and he said angrily, "Let go." Qin Feiyong let go of the inner demons, turned to face the inner demons and sighed. "It's my responsibility to revive everyone, not you." "What do you mean?" Everyone was surprised. But neither Qin Feiyong nor the inner demons explained to them. "Humph." The inner demon snorted and said, "I didn't expect you to see through it. Although I've been in seclusion all this time, and you've been deliberately hiding your inner emotions, after all, our minds are connected. Sometimes I can still feel it." Qin Feiyong said. The inner demon said, "Since you've already felt it, you should get out of the way." Qin Feiyong said, "I've already said that it's my responsibility. It has nothing to do with you. You'd better live well. Why are you so stubborn? You know very well that the person who really matters to everyone is you, not me. I'm the inner demons. I shouldn't exist in this world. I'm very happy to be able to do something for everyone. Do you understand?" The inner demon said angrily. Qin Feiyong looked at the inner demons silently. After a long time, he smiled and said, "Thank you, but I won't agree to it." "You?" The inner demons was furious. Wait a minute. Could it be that the inner demons wanted to knock the young master unconscious so that he could open the gate of rebirth and revive everyone? Zhao Tai-Lai was surprised. He heard about it. Tang Hai and the others looked at the inner demons in a daze. That's what he thought. Because the two of us can share it. I've comprehended the gate of rebirth to perfection. It's the same as him comprehending it to perfection. And in the past 3 months, you've been drowning your sorrows in alcohol, but he's been enjoying the last period of his life. Qin Feiyong looked at Zhao Tai-Lai and the others and said with a smile, "I see." Everyone suddenly understood, and a deep admiration suddenly rose in their hearts. Qin Feiyong retracted his gaze and looked at the inner demons with a smile. "You can leave now. Idiot." The inner demons glared at Qin Feiyong fiercely and turned to walk to the side. However, there were already tears in his eyes. "You always say that I'm stupid, but in fact, you're the idiot. You don't fight for good things, but you insist on fighting for this kind of death." Qin Feiyong murmured. However, it was undeniable that the inner demon's action warmed his heart. "Thank you." Qin Feiyong said silently, looked up at the sky and whispered, "Mother, I'll be able to see you again soon. I'm really happy." Boom. His voice fell. Waves of purple gold dragon chi rushed out of his body like a tide. "Silly boy." Old Man Qin closed his eyes in pain and transmitted to Lu Zhang and the others, "I'm going to the Forgotten Continent and the Imperial Capital." "What for?" Zhao Tai-Lai secretly said. "Inform Tan Tai Li, His Majesty, and Emperor Hong. Otherwise, I won't even have the chance to see them one last time." Old Man Qin said. Lu Zhang's eyes couldn't help but redden. "Then help me inform Second Grandpa and the others. Although it will make them sad to see this scene with their own eyes, but..." At this point, he couldn't continue. His voice was choked up, and he turned his head and wiped away his disappointing tears. "I know." Old Man Qin nodded, opened his eyes, opened the portal, and walked in without looking back. Qin Feiyong also saw Old Man Qin's departure. He also knew what Old Man Qin was going to do. But he didn't stop him. Because he also wanted to see everyone before he died. Boom. The purple gold dragon chi continuously poured into the sky. In the sky directly above, purple gold auspicious clouds gradually emerged. For a time, the wind blew and the clouds rolled. And the purple gold auspicious clouds were still spreading in all directions. Not long after, the auspicious clouds spread to Black Bear City. But it didn't stop. The auspicious clouds were still spreading to Yen City, the Sea of Despair, and even the state capital. What? Feiyang has opened the gate of rebirth? Central Divine Kingdom. Above the Pill Pagoda Square, the mysterious lady looked at Old Man Qin standing opposite her with a face full of surprise. Yes. Go quickly, or you won't have the chance to see him again in the future. Old Man Qin said. What do you mean by that? What do you mean I won't have the chance to see him again? The mysterious lady said in shock and anger. He has already comprehended the gate of rebirth to perfection. After Old Man Qin finished speaking, he turned around and rushed to the imperial capital without looking back. Comprehended to perfection. The mysterious lady frowned. Suddenly, her body trembled violently and she shouted, Rushwang, come out immediately. Genius remembered the address of this site in a second. Mobile version of reading website, M. Chapter 1880. Whoosh. A beautiful woman leaped into the sky from the main tower below. Come with me to the spiritual state. The mysterious lady grabbed Qin Rushwang and flew toward the teleportation altar below. Mother, what's wrong? Why are you in such a hurry? Qin Rushwang looked at the mysterious lady suspiciously. The mysterious lady said in a deep voice, Qin Feiyang has comprehended the gate of rebirth to perfection. We must stop him. What? The young lady of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion also changed her expression. Miss, let's go too. Yi Shu, the monkey-faced old man, and the hook-nosed old man also flew over. All right. There's strength in numbers. Stop him together is simply nonsense. The mysterious lady shouted angrily. However, just as the teleportation altar opened, another 3 figures flew over. The 3 of them were Li He, Li Yan, and Pei Yi. What are you doing here? The mysterious lady looked at the 3 of them suspiciously. To be honest, we've been waiting for Brother Qin these days. Pei Yi said respectfully. Waiting for him for what? The mysterious lady raised her eyebrows. Qin Rushwang reminded, Mother, have you forgotten? They have a good relationship with Feiyang. The mysterious lady was stunned for a moment before she said in realization, I think so. Feiyang even asked me to take special care of them. Take special care of us? Li He and the other 2 felt a warmth in their hearts. Although Qin Feiyang's current strength had reached a level where they could only look up to him, he still didn't forget them. Since you have a good relationship with Feiyang, then come with me and help me persuade him. Let's go. I'll tell you the details on the way. The mysterious lady looked at Li He and the other 2 and took the lead to step onto the teleportation altar. Imperial capital. Hearing this, whether it was the Emperor, Emperor Hong, or Second Grandpa, they all couldn't wait and immediately rushed to the spiritual state. None of them expected that Qin Feiyang would be able to comprehend the gate of reincarnation to perfection so quickly. They also didn't expect that he would open the gate of rebirth without saying a word. When everyone entered the spiritual state one after another and appeared in the Butterfly Valley, the sky above the Butterfly Valley was already covered by auspicious clouds. But it still didn't stop. The auspicious clouds were still surging toward the other 8 continents. From the looks of it, it seemed as if it was preparing to cover the entire sky of the 9 great provinces. By the lake, Qin Feiyang stood against the wind. His long hair danced in the wind as he stared at the clouds in the sky. A faint smile hung on his resolute face. Zhao Tai-Lai and the other 2, as well as the Blood Kirin and the other 2, stood next to the inner demons. They looked at Qin Feiyang quietly. Although there was no emotion on their faces, their hearts were already aching faintly. In fact, they also wanted to persuade Qin Feiyang and stop Qin Feiyang. But they knew better that they couldn't do that. Because at this moment, Qin Feiyang had been waiting for too long. Only 3 months had passed in the outside world, but 100 years had passed in the ancient castle. 100 years was equivalent to a mortal's lifetime. It was simply too long. Rumble. Crack. Gradually. Between the clouds, the sound of thunder and lightning could be heard. Along with it, there were bursts of dragon roars. And extremely pure dragons might slowly descended from the sky, enveloping all directions. A huge purple-gold divine dragon was faintly discernible in the clouds. Whether it was the dragon's scales, dragon's body, dragon's horns, dragon's eyes, or dragon's whiskers, they were all very real. It was like a real purple-gold dragon. Whoosh! The mysterious lady and the others were the first to arrive. When she saw the purple gold dragon in the clouds, the mysterious lady's expression changed drastically. The mysterious lady shouted, "Fei Yong, you have to stop right now." Qin Fei Yong looked at the group of people and smiled. "Thank you for coming to see me off." "Nonsense. This is nonsense." The mysterious lady was furious. She took a step toward Qin Fei Yong. "Blood Kirin." The inner demons shouted. The Blood Kirin sighed and stepped in front of the mysterious lady. "Move." The mysterious lady shouted angrily. The Blood Kirin shook his head. "Yi Shu, what are you waiting for?" The mysterious lady said angrily. Yi Shu, the monkey-faced old man, and the aquiline-nosed old man came back to their senses. They immediately went around the Blood Kirin and rushed toward Qin Fei Yong. The inner demons shouted, "No one is allowed to come near me." "Yes." Zhao Tai Lai, Tang Hai, Cui Li, and the golden leopard nodded. They moved together and blocked the mysterious lady. Zhao Tai Lai looked at Yi Shu and sighed. "Old Yi, stop. Don't force us to attack." The mysterious lady looked at Zhao Tai Lai and the others and shouted angrily, "You are all Qin Fei Yong's friends. Why do you allow him to do such a stupid thing?" Zhao Tai Lai said, "It is because we are friends that we have to stop you." "You are so stupid." The mysterious lady was burning with anger. She slapped the Blood Kirin. "Sorry," the Blood Kirin whispered. The Blood Kirin whispered. Divine power rolled out, and the mysterious lady was sent flying. After all, the Blood Kirin was a low-level war god, and the mysterious lady was only a beginner war god. The gap between the two was too big. "Inner demons, why did you ask the Blood Kirin to stop us? What is the meaning of this? Do you want to replace Qin Fei Yong?" The mysterious lady was furious. "Shut up." The Blood Kirin's eyes turned cold. He looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Even if you are the young master's great-grandmother, I will not allow you to insult Mr. Heart Demon. You do not understand him. For the young master, he would sacrifice himself without hesitation. Yes. He wanted to knock the young master out and open the door of rebirth for the young master to revive everyone. Actually, the inner demons are feeling worse than you." Zhao Tai Lai sighed. "Replace Fei Yong and open the door of rebirth?" The mysterious lady was stunned. She had not expected the inner demons to do such a thing. After she steadied herself, the mysterious lady looked at the inner demons and said apologetically, "Child, I am sorry. I was too impatient. Great-grandmother, I know. You don't have to explain." The inner demons shook his head. Shua. At this time, the king, Emperor Hong, Old Qin, and second grandpa arrived above the lake. Looking at the clouds and the purple gold dragon in the sky, the king's face fell. He mumbled, "Is it too late?" "No. We can still stop him now," the mysterious lady said. The king's spirit was lifted. He looked at the mysterious lady and then at Zhao Tai Lai and the others. He said angrily, "What are you doing? Get out of my way." Boom. The inner demon stepped forward and landed next to the Blood Kirin. He shouted, "How many times do I have to tell you? There are some things we must do." Everyone was shocked. On one hand, they were shocked by the inner demons. On the other hand, they were shocked by the inner demons' words. It turned out that in the eyes of Qin Fei Yong and the inner demons, reviving everyone was something they had to do. I'll say it right now. Today, if anyone dares to cause trouble and stop us from opening the door of rebirth, I will kill them. The inner demons glanced at the group of people. His blood-red eyes were like a sea of blood. There was not a single person present who did not tremble both physically and mentally. "You rascal, why are you being so harsh? Can't you be gentle?" "But, I still have to thank you." Qin Fei Yong looked at the back of the inner demons and smiled. The inner demons snorted coldly without looking back. "Thank my ass. Hurry up. Don't waste my time." Qin Fei Yong smiled. Step by step, he stepped into the sky. At this moment, a man and a beast were standing in the clouds, looking at Qin Fei Yong. It was Qin Yuan and the snow python. Qin Fei Yong stepped into the clouds and saw them, but he didn't say anything. He just nodded and smiled. Qin Yuan didn't say anything. He only gave Qin Fei Yong an encouraging look. "Old thing, to be honest, now I am beginning to admire this kid." The snow python whispered, looking at Qin Feiyang with a complicated expression. Qin Yuan smiled but didn't say anything. Qin Feiyang stood in the clouds, and the purple-gold dragon aura was constantly surging. Roar! The second dragon, the third dragon, the fourth dragon. One by one, the purple-gold divine dragons kept appearing. They flew out of the clouds from time to time, revealing their huge bodies. Each dragon was thousands of feet long, and the terrifying dragon power shook the heavens. Time passed little by little. The people below didn't try to persuade him anymore, because they knew that even if their mouths were dry, the inner demons wouldn't make way, and Qin Feiyang wouldn't stop. Roar! About half an hour passed. 99 purple-gold divine dragons were born in the clouds. They flew in the clouds and hovered in the sky. Every dragon scale on their bodies was emitting a dazzling divine light. The inner demons had seen this scene before, but it was the first time for the Emperor and the others. 99 purple-gold divine dragons. What a spectacular scene! It was rare to see such a scene in one's life. It's starting. I'll say it again. No one is to disturb him. The inner demons said. Roar! Before they finished speaking, the 99 purple-gold divine dragons in the clouds roared at the sky. Then, they gathered together. The dragon heads faced the sky and the dragon heads faced the ground, like stone pillars cast by divine iron, standing in the sky. The purple-gold divine light shone in all directions. With my will, I seize the creation of heaven and earth. With my body, I seize the origin of the world. With my soul, I overturn the laws and reverse yin and yang. The gate of rebirth, open! Qin Feiyang's face was pious, as if he was on a pilgrimage. As he kept saying the words, the 99 purple-gold divine dragons roared in the sky. Clang! When Qin Feiyang said the last word, it was accompanied by a loud noise that shook the sky and the earth. A huge stone door gradually appeared above the heads of the 99 purple-gold divine dragons. The stone door was 999 feet high. It was glowing with a dazzling light. On it, mountains, rivers, earth, the sun, the moon, stars, and all living things were engraved. Every pattern was like a work of art, incomparably real. Is that the gate of rebirth? The Emperor and the others murmured. Although the Qin Emperor had created the divine dragon technique 10,000 years ago, this was the first time they saw the gate of rebirth. The mighty aura was many times stronger than the last time Qin Feiyang opened it. It was like a desolate aura from afar, shaking the hearts of everyone present. But when the gate of rebirth appeared, Qin Feiyang's cultivation began to fall, just like the last time. But this time, the inner demons were not affected at all. Chapter 1881. Grandfather, Feiyang's cultivation has already fallen to the false god realm. Seeing Qin Feiyang's cultivation constantly plummet, the emperor was burning with anxiety. What's done is done. Let's respect his choice. Emperor Hong sighed deeply. Silly child. The emperor clenched his hands tightly. His heart was in extreme pain. He wished he could replace Qin Feiyang and open the gate of rebirth. Unfortunately, he didn't have the ability. He hated his own incompetence. Why couldn't he protect this poor child every time? He hated God even more. Why did he let Qin Feiyang go through so many hardships? This child's life was already bitter and tiring enough. Couldn't he sympathize with him? The wind howled, and the dragon's might shook the world. Qin Feiyang stood in the clouds and smiled at the gate of rebirth. Although his cultivation was disappearing, he didn't regret it at all. On the contrary, at this moment, he was very happy. To save his family and friends, what was the point of sacrificing himself? In this world, there were actually countless people who were stronger than him. He was just an insignificant person. He was already very satisfied to be able to bring everyone back to life. Old Zhao, Old Tang, Xueqi, Junior Leopard, Inner Demons, Blood Qilin, thank you for accompanying me along the way. Father, grandfather, great-grandmother, second grandpa, third grandpa, fourth grandpa, Old Qin, thank you for your selfless love and care for me all these years. With you all, I am really happy. Qin Feiyang muttered to himself, the smile on his face becoming brighter and brighter. As his voice fell, Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and 2 seas of blood appeared. Although it had been a long time, one could still feel the deep resentment and despair. Why is there so much blood? The emperor and others were shocked. This blood is not only from the creatures of the 9 provinces, but also from the Black Tortoise world. This time, we were able to kill the demon ancestor and Mu Tianyang because of the creatures of the Black Tortoise world. They are the real saviors. The inner demons whispered. Clouds. Qin Feiyong waved his hand again, and a sea of corpses appeared. Within this sea of corpses were his grandfather, his maternal grandfather, his lover, his younger brother, and his mother. Many of them were beyond recognition. Some of them were even left with broken limbs. However, these people were the ones that Qin Feiyong was most concerned about and most reluctant to part with. I'm really sorry for making you wait for so long. After you are reborn, don't be sad for me. You must live happily. Qin Feiyong glanced at them one by one and mumbled with a smile. Then, he waved his hand and the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood flowed into the gate of reincarnation. Alas! Tang Hai sighed and took out a skeleton. With a wave of his hand, the skeleton rose into the air and flew towards the gate of rebirth. He had already found Sima Kuan and the ancient pagoda in the reincarnation sea. This skeleton was Ran Duxing's skeleton. The inner demons looked at Ran Duxing's skeleton and asked Tang Hai, "Are Yan Wei's clansmen still alive?" Yan Wei's clansmen? Tang Hai was stunned. Tang Hai and the others did not know about the situation of the Sky Tiger tribe. The inner demons said, "Are there any living people in the ancient pagoda?" "Yes, and there are quite a few. There should be more than 1,000,000. Tang Hai said. "They are Yan Wei's clansmen." The inner demons whispered. Tang Hai nodded in realization. At the same time, the emperor also sighed and sent the corpse of the Kirin army's commander into the gate of rebirth. Between the clouds, the snow python turned to look at Qin Yuan and said anxiously, "The gate of rebirth has been opened. Have you thought about it?" Qin Yuan looked at Qin Feiyong and the gate of rebirth in silence. The snow python said angrily, "Dong Zhengyang has already said it so clearly. Are you still doubting it?" Qin Yuan took a deep breath and turned to look at the snow python, saying, "This old man has a condition." "Say it," the snow python said. Qin Yuan formed a seal with both hands, and a blood-red mark appeared. It was the blood soul technique. "What are you doing?" The snow python raised its eyebrows. "This bed is too big. This old man has to be prepared. If you really have no problem, then let this old man use the blood soul technique to control you." Qin Yuan said. "You." The snow python stared at Qin Yuan angrily. "If you don't agree now, then it means that everything you said to this old man is just a conspiracy." Qin Yuan said in a deep voice. "You're an old bastard." The snow python cursed and closed its eyes, saying, "Hurry up, don't waste time." Qin Yuan did not hesitate. The blood soul technique entered the snow python's body and quickly merged with the power of the bloodline. After a while, the snow python opened its eyes and looked at Qin Yuan. "Is it okay now?" Qin Yuan took out the 4 drops of blood, looked at Qin Feiyong, and muttered, "Feiyong, I'm sorry." Then, Qin Yuan waved his old hand, and the 4 drops of blood passed through the layers of clouds and entered the gate of rebirth in an instant. This scene happened too quickly, and no one noticed it. But as the one who opened the gate of rebirth, Qin Feiyong, noticed it and looked at Qin Yuan suspiciously. "Believe me, I won't harm you." Qin Yuan's voice sounded in Qin Feiyong's mind. Hearing this, Qin Feiyong did not think too much about it. At this moment, his cultivation had already fallen to Martial Master. Martial Master did not have the ability to fly. Seeing that Qin Feiyong was about to fall from the sky, the inner demons took a step forward and rushed to Qin Feiyong's side. A wave of divine power appeared and supported Qin Feiyong. "Thank you." Qin Feiyong smiled gratefully. "Do you think I want to talk to you?" The inner demons glared at him. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled. It was also at this moment that his cultivation had completely disappeared, and he had become a real ordinary person. But it did not stop. The qi, blood, and vitality in his body were also rapidly disappearing. Sigh. The inner demons sighed. The gate of rebirth of the perfection realm was completely different from before. In the past, it was at the cost of cultivation. But now, not only cultivation, but also body, lifespan, and even soul. In other words, it was to use Qin Feiyong as a sacrifice. Why are you sighing? To be able to use my life in exchange for the resurrection of billions of living beings, this is a very worthwhile thing. Qin Feiyang laughed. The inner demon said, "Don't say such useless nonsense, say your last words." "Regretful," Qin Feiyang whispered and said with a smile. "There are no regrets, just help me take care of them." The inner demons clenched his hands and nodded. "Okay, I promise you." "Thank you." Qin Feiyang smiled. More than half of his qi, blood, and lifespan had been lost, and his appearance had become extremely old. His hair was white, and he was in his twilight years. "Thank you, my ass. You bastard. You left on your own and left all this mess to me. What do you think you are doing?" The inner demons roared. He took a step forward and hugged Qin Feiyang tightly. The tears in his eyes could no longer be controlled. "Young master." Tang Hai and the others looked at the two of them, and their hearts could not help but ache as they silently shed tears. The mysterious madam, the emperor, and the others had already collapsed, tears streaming down their faces. Qin Feiyang gently pushed the inner demons away and looked down at everyone. His bent body and the soul in his sea of consciousness were already disintegrating and dissipating. "I am very lucky to have you in this life. Thank you." As the last word fell, Qin Feiyang's body and soul completely dissipated, turning into a rain of light that flew toward the gate of reincarnation. "Deity!" The inner demons roared and reached out to grab, but they could not grab anything. "Young master." Zhao Tai-Lai and the other two, as well as the Blood Kirin and the other two, also fell into a frenzy in an instant, rolling and crawling toward the clouds. Feiyang. Emperor Hong and the others did not move, but looking at the rain of light, their eyes were filled with sadness. "God, why? Why did you treat my child like this? I beg you, give me back my child." The emperor roared again and again, kneeling powerlessly in the void, burying his head, crying bitterly. In his heart, it was as if a knife was being twisted. "You are really great. We will remember you. The people of Great Qin will remember you. The people of Forgotten Continent will never forget you. Thank you for contributing to the common people of the world," Pei Yi murmured. Originally, he had come to persuade Qin Feiyang. But when he came here and saw Qin Feiyang and the inner demons with his own eyes, he understood that persuasion was not something he should do, but silently support. "Please don't be sad. Because this is not the result I want to see. I want to see the smile on your faces. Please don't let me leave with self-blame and regret." A faintly discernible voice suddenly reverberated in everyone's mind. This was Qin Feiyang's last trace of consciousness. After saying this, he turned into a rain of light, bit by bit, and merged into the gate of reincarnation. That's right. Young master's greatest wish is for the people around him to live happily. Now, his wish has finally been fulfilled. We should not be sad about it. Zhao Tai-Lai roared. Yes. We should be happy for Feiyang, proud. Everyone, laugh for me. We can't let Feiyang leave with regret, Emperor Hong shouted. Everyone was indeed laughing. However, that smile of his was so bitter, so sad that it made one shed tears. This way. I really don't have any more regrets. Qin Feiyang's voice sounded again. However, no one heard this voice. His last bit of consciousness faded away along with the voice. The rain of light also completely merged with the gate of reincarnation. Qin Feiyang disappeared. The only things left were the Qianquan bag, the Phoenix God Blade, the ancient castle, the image crystal, the gate of time and space, the wings of the mermaid princess, and Ling Yunfei's spatial divine item, which floated in front of the inner demons and the others. Mobile version reading website, M. Chapter 1882. The divine phoenix blade was also wailing. The ancient castle was shrouded in a golden barrier, and there was a small crack on the barrier. Obviously, this barrier was the seal set up by the golden small beast. The ancient castle sealed by the barrier also exuded a heart-wrenching grief. The inner demons calmed down, glanced at the emperor and the others below, looked up at the gate of rebirth, and murmured, "Don't worry, I will definitely do what I promised you." Boom! A vast aura suddenly roared out from the gate of rebirth. It's about to be resurrected. Get ready to welcome everyone. The inner demons said. Zhao Tai-Lai and the others nodded. In the face of this moment, the emperor and the others also suppressed the sadness in their hearts and looked nervously at the gate of rebirth. Whoosh! Finally! A woman walked out from the gate of rebirth. It was Ren Wushuang. Zhao Tai waved his hand, and a wave of divine power surged out, immediately transforming Ren Wushuang's body into a long dress. People who were reborn were all naked. This was the preparation that the inner demons said. Where is this? Am I not already dead? Ren Wushuang looked around, looked at the gate of rebirth, and his eyes were full of confusion. The inner demon said, "Step aside first." Fei Yang. Ren Wushuang heard the voice, looked at the inner demons, and a trace of joy appeared on his face, but then he shook his head and said, "You are not Fei Yang, who are you? What is going on?" Tang Hai. The inner demons shouted. Understood. Tang Hai rose into the air, took Ren Wushuang to the side and said, "Don't ask anything now, I will tell you later." Okay. Ren Wushuang nodded. Then, one figure after another kept walking out of the gate of rebirth. They were all unfamiliar faces. There were creatures from the 9 prefectures. There were also creatures from the Black Tortoise realm. These creatures included humans and ferocious beasts. But occasionally, there would be a familiar face. As for those without cultivation, Tang Hai would send them down to the ground below. Those with cultivation gathered around Ren Wushuang. However, without exception, all of their faces were filled with confusion. It was easy to imagine how long it would take for the billions of living beings to be resurrected. Noon passed. In the afternoon, there were already too many people here. Whether it was on the ground or in the void, it had become a sea of people. They were all confused. However, looking at the people who kept coming out of the gate of reincarnation, they knew that someone must have saved them. In the evening, 2 ferocious beasts, one big and one small, walked out of the gate of rebirth. What's going on? They were the Black Bear King and its cub. The father and son scanned their surroundings, their eyes filled with bewilderment. Another old man walked out of the gate of reincarnation. He was Feng Ling Heir's grandfather, Feng Cheng. Black Bear King. You! Feng Cheng scanned his surroundings before looking at the Black Bear King and his son. His old face was filled with astonishment. In the evening, many familiar faces appeared. Gong Sun Bei, Fatso, Ling Yunfei, Old Man Ren, Jiang Zhengyi, Yan Wei, 6 elders, Willow Tree, Yu Huang, Crocodile Emperor, Golden Wolf King, Wang Xiaojie, Wang Yangfeng, Lu Yun, Ji Shui, Elder Wan, Li Ji, and so on and so forth. There were too many to count. For example, Lu Yun and others, looking at the scene in front of them and the gate of reincarnation, they were as confused as everyone else. However, Fatso and others knew the reason for everything the moment they saw the gate of reincarnation. They silently retreated to the side, suppressing the sadness in their hearts and persuading themselves not to cry. However, tears still flowed down uncontrollably. Lu Yun, Emperor Chen, Lu Hong, Feng Ling Heir, Zhao Shuang'er, Lin Yi, and the Mermaid Princess were also resurrected one by one. Why? Why did you save me? Lin Yi looked at the gate of reincarnation and muttered to herself. She, who cultivated the art of forgetting emotion, did not recover her previous memories because of this rebirth. However, people like the Mermaid Princess and Emperor Chen had recovered their memories. Ling-er, Qingzhu, Shuang-er. A series of surprised cries sounded in the crowd. Luo Qingzhu, Feng Ling Heir, and Zhao Shuang-er looked in the direction of the sound. When they saw Jiang Zhengyi and his wife, Feng Cheng, and the Zhao family's old man, they were overjoyed. Father, mother, grandpa. The 3 girls immediately rushed over. Hong-er. Lu Zhang was also very excited and ran towards Lu Hong. Go away. Lu Hong pushed him away, rushed to the inner demons with a blank expression, and asked, Tell me, where is Fei Yang? The inner demon said, He has merged with the gate of reincarnation. Merge. Lu Hong's gaze trembled. Soon after, another woman walked out of the gate of reincarnation. It was the mother that Qin Fei Yang missed the most, Lu Qiuyu. I'm not dead? She looked down at herself, looked up at the surroundings, and turned to look at the gate of reincarnation. Her body suddenly trembled. Qiuyu. The emperor quickly flew up to support Lu Qiuyu. Why didn't you stop Fei Yang? Lu Qiuyu said angrily. The emperor reached out and hugged his crazy lover tightly in his arms, and said, Why didn't I stop him? Our child has grown up, he has his own choice. Silly. Really silly. Lu Qiuyu cried bitterly. Another young man walked out of the gate of reincarnation. It was the little prince. The emperor waved his hand and quickly pulled the little prince to his side. Father, why am I not dead? The little prince looked around, his little face full of suspicion. It was your brother who saved you. That gate is your brother. In order to save you, he sacrificed himself. The emperor said in pain. Brother. The little prince's body trembled. He raised his head and looked at the gate of reincarnation. No. I haven't avenged Mother yet. How can you die? If you want to die, you should die in my hands. The little prince roared. The inner demons glanced at the little prince and raised his eyebrows slightly. Zhao Tai hurriedly said, Lord Inner Demons, don't be rash. Humph. The inner demons snorted coldly, looked at the gate of reincarnation and said, It should be about time. Zhao Tai breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. It is about time. He was afraid that the inner demons would be unhappy and kill the little prince on the spot. After the little prince came out, no one else came out, but the gate of reincarnation did not disappear. What's going on? The Blood Kirin was surprised. I'm not sure. Zhao Tai shook his head. Suddenly, 3 people and 1 beast came out of the gate of reincarnation one after another. How is that possible? Zhao Tai and the others were suddenly shocked. Emperor Hong, Elder Qin, 4th Grandpa, the mysterious Madam, Yi Shu, the monkey-faced old man, and the aquiline-nosed old man immediately rushed behind the inner demons and the others. Because the ones who came out were the demon ancestor, Mu Tianyang, Mo Long, and Mu Qing. At the same time, Luo Qingzhu protected Zhang Zhengyi and his wife behind her. Zhao Shuanger and Feng Ling also protected Elder Zhao and Feng Cheng behind them. What's wrong? Feng Cheng was suspicious. They are all great devils who kill people like scything flax. Feng Ling said in a deep voice. The atmosphere at the scene became incomparably heavy. Why aren't they dead? At the same time, Mu Tianyang glanced at Inner Demon's group, then swept his gaze over the surrounding crowd, his eyes filled with suspicion. Mo Long and Mu Qing were the same. The gate of reincarnation? So it was you who saved me. The demon ancestor murmured. Mu Tianyang was taken aback and turned to look at the demon ancestor. He saw the demon ancestor looking at the void behind them with a trace of disappointment in his eyes. Mu Tianyang, Mu Qing, and Mo Long also turned to look and were stunned. Is this the gate of reincarnation? Mu Qing murmured. Yes, this is the gate of reincarnation. But I don't understand, why are you resurrected? The inner demon said gloomily. Mu Tianyang raised his eyebrows and turned to look at the inner demons. Listening to what you said, Qin Feiyang didn't intend to resurrect us? What do you think? Trash like you are qualified to resurrect us. The inner demon sneered, and the blood-colored long sword formed by the kill formula had already condensed in his hand. That terrifying murderous aura shrouded all directions. In an instant, everyone here, all the beasts, fell into panic. We're trash? Mu Tianyang murmured, glancing at the surrounding void and the creatures on the ground below. A monstrous murderous intent surged from his body as he looked up to the sky and laughed. It seems that this is a chance given to me by the heavens. Damn it, damn it. Zhao Tai and the others almost went crazy. It wasn't easy to kill these 2, but now they were resurrected. Who sent their flesh and blood into the gate of reincarnation? Mu Tianyang, are you still not going to let go? The demon ancestor suddenly sighed and turned to look at Mu Tianyang. Let go? Mu Tianyang grinned. The demon ancestor said, no matter what, it was Qin Feiyang who saved us. You should be grateful to him. Grateful? Mu Tianyang was taken aback and laughed. Qin Feiyang forced us into this identity, and you still want to thank him? Are you stupid? Don't be stubborn anymore. With your strength, you're no match for the inner demons. Moreover, there's still me. The demon ancestor said. What do you mean? Mu Tianyang's face sank. The demon ancestor said, what I mean is, if you continue to act recklessly, I will kill you. What's going on? The demon ancestor, Looking at the demon ancestor at this moment, the emperor and the others were stunned. Zhao Tai walked to the side of the inner demons and whispered, it seems that the demon ancestor has really awakened. This is good news for us. Whether he has awakened or not, it's unforgivable. The inner demons grinned, and the blood-red armor formed by the battle's secret art also emerged. At this time, Qin Yuan and the snow python appeared. Qin Feiyong looked at the inner demons and sighed. It was this old man who sent their flesh and blood into the gate of reincarnation. What? The inner demon's eyes trembled and roared. Why did you do this? Don't you know that they are the ones who caused this situation? Yes. Senior Qin, why did you do this? If it weren't for them, would the young lord have opened the gate of reincarnation? If he didn't open the gate of reincarnation, would the young lord have died? Zhao Tai and the others cried out bitterly. Qin Yuan sighed and lowered his head. I'm sorry, this old man has disappointed you. Shut up. The inner demon's blood-red hair fluttered as he rushed in front of Qin Yuan and placed his blood-red sword on Qin Yuan's neck. His murderous aura surged as he roared. Do you think an apology can erase the fact that you betrayed us? Please remember the domain name of this book. Literature Museum mobile reading website. Chapter 1883. Betrayal. Zhao Tai was taken aback. He walked to the side of the inner demons and asked cautiously, Lord Inner Demons, isn't the word betrayal a bit too serious? Serious? We trusted him so much, but he secretly helped the demon ancestor and Mu Tianyang. If this isn't betrayal, then what is? The inner demons shouted. Qin Yuan sighed. If you insist on saying so, this old man won't refute. The inner demon said, the truth is in front of you. What do you have to refute it? Qin Yuan said, actually, this old man can explain. Explain? I really don't understand. What kind of reason would make you betray our trust? The inner demons looked disappointed. If one were to say who he and Qin Feiyong trusted the most, it would undoubtedly be Qin Yuan. However, he didn't expect Qin Yuan to use their trust to do such a thing. How could this not make him disappointed? Qin Yuan glanced at the snow python on the side and said, this matter is too important. When there is a chance, we will talk about it in private. In that case, there is no need to explain. Betrayal is betrayal. The reason is no longer important. The inner demon's murderous intent soared to the sky. Under this murderous aura, everyone present, including the ferocious beasts, could not help but feel despair. Zhao Tai advised, Lord Inner Demons, just bear with it and give him a chance to explain. You have the right to interrupt here. The inner demons turned to look at Zhao Tai. His blood-red eyes were filled with ruthless light. Zhao Tai's heart trembled and quickly retreated to the side. At this moment, the inner demon's eyes reminded him of the scene when he first met the inner demons. It also reminded him of the inner demon's true character and means. In front of Qin Feiyong, they could occasionally be presumptuous because Qin Feiyong wouldn't care. But in front of the inner demons, being presumptuous was tantamount to courting death. Crack. Suddenly, a deafening sound rang out. The eyes of the inner demons trembled. They quickly looked up and saw that the gate of rebirth was starting to crack. This made the inner demons even angrier. He suddenly turned around, and like an enraged wild beast, he stared fixedly at Qin Yuan, and said, Do you know that opening the gate of rebirth this time will cause the sovereign to die? This old man knows. Qin Yuan nodded. So you know. Since you know, why are you still helping Mu Tianyang and the others? Aren't you letting me down? The inner demons roared and their bodies trembled. The blood-red sword in their hands had already cut through Qin Yuan's skin and blood flowed out. Qin Yuan lowered his head, his face filled with guilt. The inner demons exhaled and asked expressionlessly, Are you prepared to die? Qin Yuan took a deep look at the inner demons. Without saying anything, he closed his eyes. Die! The inner demons murmured and swung their blood-red sword. He didn't hesitate at all. Because his principle was that he would rather betray the world than let the world betray him. Clang! But just as the inner demon's sword fell, the snow python suddenly raised its tail and slapped the blood-red sword. Crack! The blood-red sword shattered on the spot. The inner demons was also sent flying, blood gushing out of his mouth. Snow python, what are you doing? Qin Yuan opened his eyes and glared at the snow python. This is a personal grudge between this old man and him. Don't interfere. You really are a stupid old man. The snow python snorted and looked at the inner demons. Grow a brain and don't think about the problem. If Qin Yuan really wanted to harm you, do you think you can live until now? It's not important. It's not important at all. I only know that it was he who betrayed us first. The inner demons murmured. Killing intent surged out, and the blood-red sword appeared again. The snow python looked at the blood-red sword and said disdainfully, "Don't overestimate yourself. With the kill formula now, you are no match for us." Yes, I don't deny that. But the inner demons glanced at the creatures in the air and on the ground, and laughed sinisterly. They are ready-made sacrifices. What? Zhao Tai and the others' expressions changed. Xueqi hurriedly said, "Lord Inner Demons, you can't do this." That's right. The creatures here were all exchanged with the young master's life. If you kill them now, wouldn't the young master's death be in vain? The Blood Qilin also hurriedly advised. At the same time, Emperor Hong and the others, Qin Yuan, and the snow python all looked at the inner demons in shock. Hearing the inner demon's words, could it be that he wanted to kill everyone here? Lord Inner Demons, please reconsider. Zhao Tai even knelt in the air, looking anxiously at the inner demons. It's not important. It's really not important. Once under the influence of this sovereign, I have indeed changed a lot. I even believe that there is something between people. This thing is trust. But I didn't expect that our most beloved old man would betray us. This makes me doubt again. Does trust really exist? Is this sovereign's way of doing things really right? No. There is no trust in this world. The so-called benevolence, the so-called friendship, will only become a stone in our way. What use do I have for such things? So I have decided. I want to be my former self. I want to make all the creatures in the world tremble under my feet. Slaughter domain. Open. The inner demon let out a roar, and a huge territory appeared in an instant. The terrifying murderous aura instantly soared countless times. It's over. It's completely over. Lord Inner Demons has gone crazy. Qin Yuan, this is all your fault. There are so many creatures here, if they all become sacrifices, Lord Inner Demon's strength is enough to destroy these 2 continents. Zhao Tai and the others looked at Qin Yuan and shouted angrily. It's all this old man's fault. Qin Yuan cried out in pain. Yes, it's all your fault. They all died because of you. You'll be in pain and blame yourself for the rest of your life. The inner demons laughed wildly. The blood-red sword in his hand burst out thousands of sword qi, covering the sky and the earth as it surged in all directions. Inner demons, it's not a good thing to have too much murderous aura. However, at this moment, a rather childish voice suddenly sounded in the void. The inner demons was stunned. He turned his head and saw that the gate of rebirth had already dissipated, but in the place where the gate of rebirth had disappeared, stood a little boy. This little boy was about 3 or 4 years old, wearing a small red doo-doo, and a golden bell hung around his neck. His little face was chubby and pink. A pair of big dark eyes blinked, looking quite cute. Why are you here? The inner demons was stunned. He had seen this little boy before. It was the child who had appeared in the great hall in the depths of the desert back then. At that time, this child had set a test for him and Qin Feiyang. Although the child looked very young, there was a sense of depth between his eyebrows, as if he was an antique who had lived for countless years. He glanced at the creatures around him, then looked at the inner demons and said, Qin Feiyang asked me to tell you not to hate Uncle Yuan. He must have his reasons for doing this. What do you mean? The inner demons was stunned. You mean, the young master is not dead yet? Zhao Tai and the others also looked at the little boy in surprise. Who is he? He's such a small child, but why does the inner demons look a little afraid? Everyone else was surprised, including the demon ancestor, Mu Tianyang, Qin Yuan, and the snow python. Sigh. Qin Feiyang's death has become an indelible fact. The little boy looked at Zhao Tai and the others and sighed. The inner demon said angrily, Even you can't save him? Me. I don't have that ability at the moment. But I can help him form a new body and preserve his last trace of consciousness. The little boy said. The inner demons trembled and asked, If you preserve his last trace of consciousness, will you be able to save his life and even wake him up? It's not that simple. But it's not like there's no chance. After the little boy said that, he waved his hand, and a diamond-shaped crystal suddenly appeared. The crystal was about the size of an adult's palm. It had distinct edges and corners, like a sparkling and translucent diamond. It emitted resplendent divine light. The entire night sky was as bright as day. This is the heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm. The inner demon said in surprise. You have a good memory. The little boy grinned. Humph. Back then, our physical bodies were first shattered by it bit by bit, and then it reconstructed our physical bodies. How can I forget that feeling of living a life worse than death? The inner demon snorted coldly. Sure enough, it's a vengeful guy. But you should be grateful for it now. The little boy said. If it can really reconstruct my body and preserve my last trace of consciousness, I will be grateful to it. The inner demons said. The little boy said, what about Qin Yuan? The inner demons turned to look at Qin Yuan. His bloody eyes were filled with murderous intent. After a long time, he put away the slaughter domain and shouted, take those 4 bastards and get out of my sight immediately. Qin Yuan sighed. He waved his old hand, rolled up the snow python, demon ancestor, and prepared to leave. Wait. At this time, a clear voice rang out. It was Lin Yi. She flew to demon ancestor and said, Master, take me with you. Demon ancestor looked at Lin Yi, shook his head and sighed. I can't take you with me. Why? Lin Yi asked, looking a little flustered. Girl, I'm sorry. I lied to you. In fact, Qin Feiyong is the person you like. You and Qin Feiyong grew up together. He regarded you as his sister, and you were deeply in love with him. I wanted to use you to get rid of him, so I let you practice the indifferent secret art. I lied to you that Qin Feiyong is your enemy. Demon ancestor said. What? Lin Yi's gaze trembled. She turned to look at the inner demons. Qin Feiyong saved us because he had no choice, but he saved you willingly. Demon ancestor said. Why did you lie to me? Lin Yi clenched her fingers and looked back at demon ancestor. Her eyes were burning with endless anger. It's my fault. I also know that when you learn about these things, you will hate me, but I won't blame you, and I have no right to blame you. Because this is what I deserve. But you have to live well and work hard to retrieve your memories. I believe you can do it. Demon ancestor smiled and nodded at Qin Yuan after saying that. Qin Yuan immediately took a group of people and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1884. Phew! Zhao Tailai and others couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. As for Lin Yi, she stood alone in the void, looking a little bewildered. Her most trusted master is a deceiver. The man she once regarded as a life-and-death enemy is the person she used to be most attached to. This truth is a big blow to her. Luo Qingzhu sighed. Yeah. Demon ancestor, this bastard, is really hateful. Thinking back to the past Lin Yi, she was such a simple girl. He actually hurt her like this. Ling Yunfei was extremely angry. Okay, it's useless to complain now that things have come to this. Let's go and comfort her. By the way, tell her everything about the past and see if it can awaken her memory. Zhao Shuang'er, Feng Ling Er, and the mermaid princess said. Luo Qingzhu and Ling Yunfei nodded. They were all the people Lin Yi was most familiar with. Looking at Lin Yi at this moment, they couldn't bear it. As for the inner demons, after Qin Yuan and others left, he immediately looked at the little boy and urged, hurry up. The little boy waved his small hand, and the heart of origin suddenly emitted a hazy brilliance, filled with a sacred aura. Child, can he really reconstruct Feiyong's physical body? Lu Qiuyu flew to the inner demons and asked nervously. Mother, don't worry. He can do it. The inner demons smiled comfortingly. Actually, in his heart, he was also in a state of turmoil and had no idea what to do. Mother? Lu Qiuyu was taken aback. What's wrong? Shouldn't I call you that? The inner demons asked. No. Lu Qiuyu quickly waved her hand and said with a smile, when I heard what you said just now, I thought you didn't recognize me anymore. Previously, I was really angry. If it weren't for that little brat suddenly running out, I would have already started a massacre. However, Even if I activate the slaughter domain and start a massacre, I won't hurt you. After all, this feeling in my heart has taken root and sprouted. How can it be easy to erase it again? The inner demon sighed. You and Fei Yong are the same. Both of you are stupid. Lu Qiuyu grabbed the inner demon's hands with a doting expression. Sensing the warmth from Lu Qiuyu's palms, the inner demons felt as if their hearts were about to melt. Tears welled up in their eyes. Lu Qiuyu sighed deeply and said, all these years, you have suffered too much. If you want to cry, then cry. I am the inner demons. I have a heart of stone. How can I cry? The inner demons laughed. However, after she finished speaking, she turned her head and quietly wiped away her tears. Lu Qiuyu shook her head and smiled. The doting in her eyes became even stronger. Wang. At this moment, the heart of origin in the little boy's hand trembled slightly, and a vast aura surged out. Following closely, a blurry silhouette slowly materialized in front of the little boy. It was the silhouette of a human. This is... The inner demons were delighted. The scene was exactly the same as when he had reconstructed his body at the end of the desert. In other words, the heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm could indeed reconstruct Qin Fei Yong's body. As time passed bit by bit, the silhouette became clearer and clearer. It's really Fei Yong, Lu Qiuyu murmured, looking extremely excited. The others. For example, Emperor Hong, the mysterious madam, the Emperor, Fatso, and the others were also excited. About a few hundred breaths passed. Finally, the silhouette solidified. A young man of flesh and blood appeared in front of everyone. Who else could it be but Qin Fei Yong? There were no clothes on his body. The reconstructed skin was as tender as a baby's, glowing with a hazy treasure light. Being naked like this doesn't seem to be very beautiful. The little boy looked at Qin Fei Yong and muttered to himself. With a wave of his little hand, a white robe suddenly appeared on Qin Fei Yong's body. Immediately, he looked at the inner demons and said, Done. Fei Yong, young lord. With the inner demons as the leader, a large group of people immediately swarmed forward. Lu Qiuyu was already crying tears of joy. However, in the face of everyone's shouts, Qin Fei Yong did not have the slightest reaction. He quietly lay in the void, his eyes closed, and his expression incomparably serene. The inner demons looked up at the little boy and asked, Didn't you say that you can preserve his last trace of consciousness? Why didn't he wake up? The little boy said, I also said that it's not that simple. Zhao Tailai said, Then didn't you also say that there's no chance? Yes, I said that. But it's obvious that being able to reconstruct his body is already my limit. As for whether or not I can wake him up, at this point, the little boy looked at the inner demons and said, It's all up to you. Up to me? The inner demons was stunned. The little boy said, If you want him to wake up, you have to go to the miracle to find a way. Miracle? The inner demons frowned. You also know that no one in Great Qin or Forgotten Continent has the ability to wake him up. And no one has the ability to let him cultivate again. The little boy said meaningfully. The inner demons lowered his head and pondered for a while. He looked at the little boy and said, Thank you for the reminder. I understand. However, I'm very curious. Who exactly are you to be able to control the heart of origin? My identity is a secret. The little boy grinned and disappeared with the heart of origin. Stop pretending. The inner demons pursed his lips. However, he should indeed thank the little boy. If it weren't for his help, Qin Fei Yong would have definitely been reduced to ashes, let alone reconstruct his body and preserve his last trace of consciousness. Phew! The inner demons let out a long breath, swept his gaze at the surrounding living beings and said loudly, You must be very confused. Why did you come back from the dead? Let me tell you now, it was Qin Fei Yong who sacrificed his life to save you. His voice was like a bell, resounding in the minds of every person and beast. So it was Qin Fei Yong who saved us. Why is that so? Why would a devil like him be kind enough to save us? Everyone was discussing. Hearing these discussions, Zhao Tailai immediately bristled with anger and roared, In your eyes, is the young master a devil? Old Zhao, you don't say. Whether it's in the Black Tortoise world or in the Great Qin, the young master really has the image of a great devil. Xueqi smiled bitterly. That's right. Back then, the young master used iron-blooded methods to destroy the various major forces in the Black Tortoise world. It was simply terrifying. Tang Hai shook his head and sighed. Hearing this, Zhao Tai couldn't help but smile bitterly. Forget it, a devil is a devil. There's no need to clarify anything. Looking at everyone's expressions, the inner demons waved his hand impatiently at Zhao Tai and the others. Zhao Tai asked, "What about the living beings in the Black Tortoise world?" The inner demons pondered for a moment before looking at the emperor and said, "Why don't we let them stay in the Great Qin?" "Sure." The emperor nodded and smiled. Although Qin Feiyong had resurrected everyone this time, there were still many living beings who had died a horrible death. In other words, many people and many beasts had completely died. If the people and beasts of the Black Tortoise world were left in the Great Qin, they could make up for these losses. Lord Inner Demons, wait a moment. After the living beings of the Black Tortoise world were reborn, I found that there was still a devil mark on their bodies. And I still remember that the last time we were reborn, the devil mark didn't seem to disappear. In other words, rebirth can't remove the devil mark. And if the devil mark doesn't disappear, then they won't be able to stay outside for long. Zhao Tai said. The inner demons lowered his head and frowned. This is very simple, right? If the young master can erase the devil mark, Lord Inner Demons can definitely do it too. Xueqi said. That's right. I seem to be able to control the heart of origin too. As long as the original body still has a bit of consciousness, the connection between me and him will not be severed. The inner demons came to a realization. After saying that, his mind moved and he immediately disappeared without a trace. The connection won't be severed? In other words, they can still share everything now. If that's the case, does that mean that young master can use this to awaken and restore his cultivation base? Zhao Tai and the others were surprised. It's not as simple as you say. Ling Yunfei suddenly sighed. What's wrong? They looked at Ling Yunfei in confusion. Back in the reincarnation sea, the inner demons mentioned this matter, but you were all fighting with the demon ancestors people outside and didn't hear it. Ling Yunfei said. What did he say? Zhao Tai was surprised. He told us that the loss of cultivation is a loss. Even if it's the bond between them, they can't share it with Boss Qin. Ling Yunfei said. They heard about it. Zhao Tai and the others' faces were filled with disappointment. I guess that if they want to share their cultivation in the future, they will have to wait for Boss Qin to recover his current cultivation first. Ling Yunfei said. Sigh. It seems that not everything will go according to plan. Xueqi sighed. Sure enough, we can still enter the Black Tortoise realm. Inside the Black Tortoise realm, the land of the demons. The inner demon stood in the sky and scanned the surroundings with a trace of joy on his face. Since he could enter the Black Tortoise realm, he could naturally control the heart of origin. Suddenly, he sensed an aura in the herb field below. He looked down and was stunned. He saw that the little boy was sitting on the branch of a tree of fortune, holding a fortune fruit and swinging his 2 little feet while gnawing on it with relish. The heart of origin was also floating beside him. As for the 9 beast emperors that were guarding the herb field, they surrounded the little boy with terrified looks on their faces. It's too wasteful to eat the fortune fruit like this. The inner demon's face twitched and landed in front of the little boy. Young master, you're finally here. Hurry and drive him away. He has already eaten more than a dozen fortune fruits. The 9 beast emperors hurriedly looked at the inner demons as if they had seen their savior. Leave. The inner demons waved his hand. This. The 9 beast emperors looked at each other. Do you need me to say it again? The inner demons shouted. Hearing this, the 9 beast emperors trembled and immediately ran away as if they were running for their lives. The inner demons looked at the little boy and frowned. You've been in the Black Tortoise realm all this time? Of course. The little boy glanced at him and nodded. Who the hell are you? The inner demons raised his eyebrows. Not only could he control the heart of origin, but he could also enter and exit the Black Tortoise realm at will. The identity of this little boy was definitely not simple. Chapter 1885. I already said that it's a secret. Why are you still asking? You should try it too. It tastes pretty good. The little boy casually plucked a fruit of fortune from a nearby branch and threw it to the inner demons. The inner demons caught the fruit of fortune and raised his eyebrows. The little boy shook his head and said, "You're really not as easy to get along with as Qin Feiyang." The inner demon said, "Cut the crap. I need the heart of origin." The little boy said helplessly, "Isn't the heart of origin right next to you? Can't you take it yourself?" "You're not stopping me?" The inner demons was surprised. "Why should I stop you? The heart of origin is yours to begin with." The little boy said. The inner demons grabbed the heart of origin and frowned. "According to what you said, can my original body and I also use the heart of origin to help others reconstruct their bodies?" "That's right." The little boy nodded. The inner demons' eyes flickered. "Are you serious?" No. I'm just joking." The little boy teased. "Joking?" The inner demons was stunned. "Yes. Although you can control the rule power here, you're still far from controlling the heart of origin." The little boy smiled. "What do you mean?" The inner demons raised his eyebrows. "It's hard to talk to you." "What I mean is that your abilities are far from enough." The little boy said. A trace of anger appeared on the inner demon's face, and he immediately prepared to leave. "I know what you're going to do with the heart of origin. But I don't know if you've thought about it. There are many pseudo-god and pseudo-god level divine beasts in the Black Tortoise world. Is it really the right choice to leave them in Great Qin?" The little boy said. The inner demons was stunned. "That's right. When the living beings of different continents gathered together, they would definitely fight for territory and resources. There would definitely be friction. It was even possible that Great Qin would once again fall into war. From the looks of it, they couldn't leave the living beings of the Black Tortoise world in Great Qin. Looks like you've already comprehended something. You're not completely hopeless." The little boy grinned and snatched the heart of origins, disappearing in front of the inner demons. "Incurable? Are you saying that I'm an idiot?" "Brat, just you wait. I'll beat your ass sooner or later." The inner demon snorted angrily and left the Black Tortoise realm, appearing beside Qin Feiyang. "How is it?" Zhao Tai asked. The inner demons did not say a word. They closed their eyes and sensed the aura of the demon mark. As the ruler of the Black Tortoise world, no matter how the living beings of the Black Tortoise world tried to hide it, he could still capture the aura of the devil imprint. Very soon, he locked onto all the people with the devil's imprint, as well as the beasts. Following closely, he opened his eyes, and as he waved his hand, an invisible force appeared, covering the sky and covering the earth as it surged in all directions. What is he doing? Everyone was suspicious. But after a few breaths, half of the people and ferocious beasts disappeared without a trace. The living beings of the 9 continents were surprised. The inner demon said, "Those people and ferocious beasts that disappeared, I am a living being of the Black Tortoise world. Don't be nervous." Black Tortoise world? What is that place? Everyone was curious. The emperor was stunned. He looked at the inner demons suspiciously and said, "Didn't you say that you would leave them in the Great Qin Empire?" "I thought about it. After all, they are living beings from different continents. It is difficult for them to get along. It is better to send them back to the Black Tortoise world." The inner demons laughed. "So that's how it is." The emperor nodded in realization. The inner demons said, "Let everyone disperse. Zhao Tai, Tang Hai, Xueqi, Blood Kirin, Junior Leopard. After all, there are so many living beings. You all should go and help Father." "Okay." The 3 people and 2 beasts nodded. Come. We will escort you back. The people of He State gather here. The people of Yu State gather over there. And the people of Feng State. Everyone started to get busy. The inner demons put away the Chenkuan bag, the divine phoenix blade, the castle, the gate of time and space, and the mermaid princess wings. Then, he picked up Qin Feiyang and flew down to the yard. "Ling Yunfei, I will return the space item to you. The white-eyed wolf is still inside." Lu Qiuyu, the mysterious lady, Emperor Hong, and Qin Rushuang all followed the inner demons. "Okay." Ling Yunfei nodded and put away the castle. Lu Ji looked at the inner demon's back. Then she looked at Ling Yunfei and asked, "Yunfei, who is he? He looks exactly like Fei Yang, But why is his temperament so different? Mother, he is Boss Qin's inner demons. Ling Yunfei smiled. Inner demons? Lu Ji was confused. At her level of cultivation, she did not understand what the inner demons were. Not far away. Feng Cheng looked at Feng Ling and said with a smile, Ling you have changed a lot after all these years. Old Master Zhao looked at Zhao Shuang and asked about her well-being. On the other side, Ran Wushuang also gathered with Old Master and Ren Duxing, all smiles. In short, everyone was happy to be reunited with their long-lost relatives. But Lu Hong had a sad look on her face. Lu Zhang kept comforting her, but he did not change her mind at all. He could not help but feel jealous. In the yard, the inner demons carried Qin Feiyong and walked straight into the wooden building and into a room. Inside the room, there was a brand new bed. This was specially built by the inner demons and the Blood Kirin when they built the yard. In the past 3 months, the inner demons had been sleeping here. The inner demons was about to put Qin Feiyong on the bed when Qin Rushuang, who followed closely behind, quickly took out a set of quilts from her Chenkuan bag and spread them on the bed. Thank you. The inner demons thanked her and gently put down Qin Feiyong. I really don't understand why the heavens want to torture my child like this. Hasn't he suffered enough all these years? Lu Qiuyu stood by the bed and looked down at Qin Feiyong. Her tears could not help but flow down. The inner demons patted Lu Qiuyu's shoulder and comforted her. Mother, everything will be fine. Trust me. Qin Rushuang looked at the inner demons and asked, what did that child mean? The inner demons pondered for a moment and said, don't worry about these things. Just take care of me. Can you do it alone? Emperor Hong looked at the inner demons and felt a little heartache. The inner demons smiled and said, Great-grandfather, don't worry. I can't be defeated. Sigh. Emperor Hong sighed deeply. The inner demons waved his hand and said, all right, everyone go out. Let mother be alone for a while. Okay. Everyone nodded and turned to leave one after another. The inner demons waved his hand, and the castle, the divine phoenix blade, the image crystal, and the space-time gate disappeared into Qin Feiyong's body. The inner demons took out the Chenkuan bag, the Wind Moon Pavilion, and the golden bead from the Mermaid 5 ancestors. He handed them to Lu Qiuyu and said, Mother, take care of these first. Okay. Lu Qiuyu nodded and took the Chenkuan bag and the 2 supreme-grade divine artifacts. The inner demons looked at Qin Feiyong again and turned to leave the room. As soon as he left the room, he saw a beautiful figure standing outside the door. Her face was full of self-blame and sadness. It was the mermaid princess. The inner demons raised his eyebrows and said, Why are you standing here? I? The mermaid princess immediately lowered her head, not daring to look into the eyes of the inner demons. Sigh. The inner demons sighed and said, Actually, you don't have to blame yourself. After all, you had already lost your memory at that time, and this venerable has never blamed you. Hearing these words, the mermaid princess's tears started to flow down. Silly woman. The inner demon shook his head and said with a smile, You have always been one of the women this venerable cares about the most. Go in. Okay. The mermaid princess nodded. By the way, this is for you. The inner demons took out the pair of wings. Thank you. The mermaid princess looked at the wings and said gratefully to the inner demons. With a gentle wave of her hand, the wings disappeared behind her back. Then the mermaid princess turned and entered the room. This venerable, the 2 women you care about the most in this life, a mother and a lover, have been resurrected now. You should be satisfied. The inner demons muttered, retracted his gaze, turned, and walked out of the small building. Inside and outside the courtyard, a large group of people gathered at this moment. There were Wang Zicheng and others. There were Fatso and others. There were Lu Yun, Tan Wu, and others. There were Pangolin, Winged Snow Eagle, Black Dragon Snake, Hellhound, Scorpion King, and other beasts. In short, all the people and beasts who had a good relationship with Qin Feiyong were here. Everyone's face was full of concern. Seeing the inner demons appear, Fatso quickly went up and asked, How is the boss? How else can he be? He is unconscious. The inner demons sighed. What should we do? Everyone was worried. The inner demons glanced at them one by one. Suddenly, he saw a woman in white behind the crowd. This woman was Lin Yi. The inner demons walked to Lin Yi step by step and said, "You know what? I really want to kill you now, but I know that I can't do that." "I'm sorry." Lin Yi lowered her head, her face full of guilt. The inner demons sighed. "Forget it. It's all in the past. Go in and see him." "Can I go in?" Lin Yi asked in a low voice. "Of course." The inner demons nodded and smiled faintly. Lin Yi was silent for a long time. She looked up at the wooden building and suddenly turned away. "What's wrong?" The inner demons was suspicious. "I have no face to see him now, and I have no face to face everyone. I am a sinner. Even if everyone will forgive me, I can't forgive myself." Lin Yi stopped and murmured, "Yi, you don't have to do this because it's not your fault. It's the demon ancestor." Luo Qingzhu quickly stepped forward and persuaded. "Thank you, Sister Qingzhu. Please give me some time. I want to recover my lost memories." Lin Yi squeezed out a bitter and reluctant smile, then stepped into the air step by step, disappearing from everyone's sight. Sigh. I'm afraid this matter will leave a knot in her heart forever. Fengling Air walked to Luo Qingzhu and sighed. Yeah. Luo Qingzhu nodded. Boom. Suddenly, an aura burst out. This aura wasn't strong. It could even be said that it was very weak. But it made everyone turn pale with fright. Because the owner of this aura was the little prince. The little prince rushed out of the crowd, waving his small fist, and charged at the inner demons. "This kid is really not afraid of death." Willow Tree and Yu Huang muttered. "The price of angering the inner demons is very serious." Everyone was extremely worried. Especially Emperor Hong and Old Qin, who stared at the inner demons firmly. They were ready to rescue the little prince at any time. Chapter 1886. But they didn't think that if the inner demons really wanted to kill the little prince, would they be able to stop him? The inner demons turned around and looked at the little prince. His blood-red eyes flashed with a cold light. Pang! The little prince punched the inner demons in the stomach, but the inner demons didn't even move. The little prince was shocked. He waved his hands and punched the inner demons in the stomach. He shouted, "Give me back my mother's life." The inner demons frowned. Suddenly, he slapped the little prince, and the little prince was sent flying. He hit the ground like a meteor, blood gushing from his mouth. "Is this all you've got? You disappoint me." The inner demons sneered. The little prince got up and stared at the inner demons. He clenched his fists. "I don't mind telling you that with your current power, you can't even get close to me, let alone kill me. If you want revenge, you have to work hard." The inner demons snorted and turned around to leave. "I will kill you," the little prince shouted. The strong prove themselves with their actions. Only the weak prove themselves with their mouths. You are the weak one. No. Weakling? Seems like I'm overestimating you. At most, you're just a pathetic worm. The inner demons didn't even turn around. "I am not a worm. I swear I will kill you," the little prince shouted. "Yes. You need this kind of will to become stronger. Hate as much as you want. Sometimes, hatred can also become a person's motivation, just like how I was back then." The inner demons murmured. The whole night, the inner demon stood alone by the lake, looking at the calm surface of the lake. His eyes were calm. No one knew what he was thinking. Done. Zhao Tailai and the other two, as well as the Blood Kirin and the other two, returned one after the other. They landed behind the inner demons. "You sent them all away?" the inner demons asked. "Yes." The 3 men and 2 beasts nodded. The inner demons said, "Thank you for your hard work. Go have a good rest. These are all trivial matters. I'm not tired. However, what the little boy said has always been of great concern to us." Zhao Tailai said. The inner demon said, "His meaning is clear. He wants me to go to the divine ruins to find a solution." Tang Hai said, "In the whole of Miracle, I think only Small Beast and Ice Dragon have this ability." Yeah. I already hate them, and now they want me to beg them. How annoying. The inner demons were quite angry. They took a deep breath and sighed. But now, there is no other way. The 3 humans and 2 beasts looked at each other. Zhao Tailai said, "Why don't we go? You stay and take care of the young master." "You." The inner demons looked at the 3 men and 2 beasts and shook his head. "It's not that I'm looking down on you guys, but you guys won't be of any use. I'll go. After all, I have the kill formula. If there's no other choice, I can still give it a try." "You've already said such words, and you still call that looking down on us?" The 3 men and 2 beasts were speechless. But this was also the truth. With their strength, they were no match for Ice Dragon and Small Beast. "Then when are you leaving?" Zhao Tailai asked. The inner demons pondered for a while, and a strong murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He said in a deep voice, "I don't dare to leave now, because the demon ancestor and these bastards have not been eliminated." Zhao Tailai and the others' eyes darkened. The demon ancestor and Mu Tianyang were indeed too big of a threat to them. And they had seen the strength of these 2 with their own eyes. Currently, in the 2 continents, only the young master and the inner demons could suppress them. But now, the young master had fallen into an eternal coma, and only the inner demons were left. If the inner demons also left, the 2 of them would take the opportunity to stir up trouble, and then no one would be able to stop them. The inner demons looked at the horizon, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He said, "I think they should all be in the Forgotten Continent now. You guys stay here and protect me. I'll go to the Forgotten Continent." "Okay. Be careful," the 3 men and 2 beasts warned. The inner demons nodded, took a step forward, and disappeared from everyone's sight like lightning. Whoosh! Not long after the inner demons left, the emperor rushed back. Seeing only Zhao Tailai and the others, he asked suspiciously, "Where's the inner demons?" "They went to look for the demon ancestor and the others." Zhao Tailai said, "Sigh. It's been hard on this child." The emperor sighed. "Yeah. At first, I quite hated him, but now I really admire him. He's responsible and responsible. With him around, I can feel more at ease." Xueqi smiled. Tang Hai said, "Whether it's him or the young master, they are the most reliable people." Zhao Tailai glanced at Tang Hai and said with a smile, "Let's not talk about it. Let's go and see the young master." Forgotten Continent. Glacier Forest, above the sky. At this moment, Dong Zhengyang, Snow Python, Qin Yuan, Demon Ancestor, Mu Tianyang, Demon Dragon, and Mu Qing gathered together. Snowflake, Bloodblade, and Demon Pagoda were also floating at the side. However, everyone remained silent. The atmosphere was quite heavy. "So this is the reason why you saved us. But I advise you, it's best to explain it clearly to the inner demons. Qin Feiyong doesn't matter. Even if you don't say it, he will forgive him. But the inner demons will probably hate you for the rest of your life." The demon ancestor was the first to break the silence, looking at Qin Yuan. "This old man will find an opportunity to explain it to him." Qin Yuan said. "Wait. What does this have to do with this emperor? You can do whatever you want, but don't take the initiative to add this emperor into it." Mu Tianyang said coldly. "Then what do you want to do?" "Continue to fulfill your ambition to rule the 2 continents." Dong Zhengyang said. "Why do you care?" Mu Tianyang raised his eyebrows. "I really don't have the qualifications to care, but if you insist on being stubborn, I can only use the seal of destiny to control you again." Dong Zhengyang said. Mu Tianyang's pupils shrank. "Ancestor, a wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. These people are not good people. We might as well agree to them first." Mu Qing said telepathically. "You are indeed all here." Then, a bone-chilling voice sounded. The inner demons stepped into the sky step by step and landed in front of the group of people. Seeing the inner demons descend, Mu Qing and Mu Tianyang's expressions suddenly changed. Mo Long's eyes were also filled with fear. But Dong Zhengyang had a trace of a smile on his face. He looked at the inner demons and said, "You came at the right time. You'd better shut up while I'm still in a good mood." The inner demons said mercilessly. Dong Zhengyang smiled embarrassedly. In the face of the inner demons, he did not dare to be too presumptuous. The inner demons turned to look at Qin Yuan and said, "I'll give you a chance to explain for the sake of this lord. But your answer must satisfy me, otherwise..." The inner demons glanced at everyone present and laughed cruelly. I don't think all of you together can withstand my anger. Arrogant. Mu Tianyong snorted coldly. Swoosh. But before Mu Tianyong's voice died away, a blood-red sword aura appeared in a flash and instantly sank into Mu Tianyong's lower abdomen. Ah! Mu Tianyong immediately screamed in pain, and a fist-sized bloody hole suddenly appeared in his lower abdomen. Its shattered ancestor sea of qi just like that? Mu Qing could not believe it and hurriedly reached out to support Mu Tianyong. Do you still dare to talk nonsense now? The inner demons looked at Mu Tianyong with contempt in their eyes. Mu Tianyong gloomily stared at the inner demon. However, his heart was filled with an unquenchable fear. Too strong. He could not resist at all. The inner demons turned to look at Qin Yuan and said, Speak. It's like this. Qin Yuan sighed deeply and said slowly. About an hour passed. Qin Yuan finally finished. The inner demons frowned and looked at Dong Zhengyang. This is the taboo you saw with the seal of destiny? That's right. At that time, I saw a very distant future. That's why I was killed. Dong Zhengyang said. Although it's very serious, this is only your side of the story. How can I believe you? The inner demons said. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Because what you're really worried about is that we'll continue to harm these two continents. As long as you can help us enter the ancient world, we won't be able to do it even if we want to. Dong Zhengyang said. The inner demons lowered their heads and pondered. The demon ancestor looked at the inner demons and said with a smile, Actually, I don't believe it either, but I'm willing to take a gamble. The inner demons glanced at the demon ancestor, then at Qin Yuan and the snow python. Finally they looked at Dong Zhengyang and said, I can help you, but you and the snow python must be controlled by me with the seal of slavery. How dare you? The snow python said angrily. The inner demon said, You have no right to speak here. Shut up. Didn't I ask Qin Yuan to control me with the blood soul technique? The snow python said angrily. The inner demon sneered. What's the use of a trashy technique like the blood soul technique? You! The snow python was furious. That's enough. Dong Zhengyang waved his hand and smiled at the snow python. Then, he looked at the inner demons and nodded. I promise you. The inner demons didn't waste any time. They directly formed two seals of slavery and entered the skulls of Dong Zhengyang and the snow python like lightning. The blood soul technique in the snow python's body was also shattered in an instant. Soon, Dong Zhengyang and the snow python were controlled by the seal of slavery. The inner demons immediately peeped into their inner thoughts. But Dong Zhengyang's inner thoughts were like a dead sea, without any fluctuations. They couldn't see through him at all. But the snow python, he could see it clearly. At this moment, the snow python's inner thoughts were full of hatred and anger towards him. Dong Zhengyang said with a smile, Now you can rest assured. The inner demons glanced at him indifferently and said, Since you want to go to the ancient world, then go as early as possible. Go now. You really can't wait. Dong Zhengyang shook his head and sighed. But, to open the teleportation altar, we need 10 war gods. We seem to be short of a few people? No need. I can open it alone. The inner demon said. A smile appeared on the demon ancestor's face. Dong Zhengyang looked at the two of them and shook his head with a smile. I forgot that both of you have 3,000 incarnations. Since that's the case, let's go. Qin Yuan waved his hand, and a group of people suddenly appeared in the sky above the demon dragon island that had disappeared. The demon ancestor glanced at the surrounding void and sighed. I have committed a heinous crime here. Don't pretend there. No one will forgive you, and no one will pity you. The inner demon said expressionlessly. Then, his divine sense rushed towards the sea below. Chapter 1887. The demon ancestor sighed. Not to mention the inner demons and the living beings of the two continents, even he himself could not forgive himself. In a short while, the inner demons found the altar that had sunk to the bottom of the sea. A group of people entered the sea and quickly landed in front of the altar. Whoosh! The inner demons waved his hand, and a dozen incarnations appeared, immediately reviving the altar. Very soon, the altar was fully revived. Blood light surged, enveloping all directions. The inner demons dispersed the incarnations and said, "Let's go up." After living on this continent for so many years, to be honest, I'm still a little reluctant to leave. Dong Zhengyang smiled. "Hurry up." The inner demons raised his eyebrows. As long as these people did not leave, his heart would not be at peace. "You have to take care." Dong Zhengyang looked at the snow python and smiled slightly. Then, he took a deep breath and took the lead to step onto the altar. The demon ancestor waved his hand and led the demon pagoda and the demon dragon onto the altar. "I'm really unwilling to leave just like that," Mu Tianyang muttered. "There's nothing we can do about it." Mu Qing sighed and then led Mu Tianyang onto the altar. The inner demons looked at Snow and Bloodblade and said, "And you guys, hurry up." The two heaven-defying artifacts had already repaired their bodies. The inner demons could clearly sense that the two artifact spirits wanted to kill him. But the inner demons did not take it to heart at all. When the two heaven-defying artifacts also entered the altar, the inner demons also stepped onto the altar. "You're going too?" Qin Yuan was stunned and asked. "If I don't go, how will they enter the ancient world? Besides," as the inner demon said this, his hands suddenly clenched, and a determined light burst out from his eyes. Immediately after, the group of people standing on the altar gradually disappeared. Miracle! Beside the altar that led to the third level, the fire python's huge body was coiled on the ground, closing its eyes and dozing off. Suddenly, it opened its eyes, and two rays of divine light burst out. Who entered the miracle? Could it be Qin Feiyang? It mumbled and instantly disappeared without a trace. The second level. Above a certain mountain range. Swish! One figure after another appeared. It was the inner demons. Mu Qing looked down and murmured, "I didn't expect you to come back so soon." "Brother Qin." A cry of surprise sounded. Then, the fire python appeared in front of the group of people. "Brother Fire." The inner demons stepped forward with a smile on their faces. Fire python sized up the inner demons and frowned. "Wait, you're not Brother Qin?" The inner demon said, "I am his inner demons." "So it's you." Fire python nodded and asked, "What about Brother Qin?" "He didn't come." The inner demons said. The fire python was slightly stunned and said worriedly, "Why didn't he come? Did something happen?" "There's a situation." The inner demons nodded, pointed at Demon Ancestor and the others, and said with a smile, "We'll talk about this later. Send them to the ancient world first." "Send them to the ancient world?" Fire Python raised his eyebrows and glanced at Demon Ancestor's group. He looked at the inner demons and said, "Although Lord Beast God has left the miracle, entering the ancient castle is not child's play. You have to tell me the reason, right?" Dong Zhengyang transmitted his voice. "Inner demons, you can't tell him about this, let alone Ice Dragon and Small Beast." The inner demon's eyes flashed and said with a smile, "Brother Fire, this matter is very complicated. I'll tell you when there's time in the future." "All right." Fire Python nodded, closed his eyes, and extended his perception to the first level. Swish! After a while, Fire Python opened his eyes and led a group of people to descend above a canyon on the first level. There was an aura that made one's heart palpitate in that canyon. And the fierce beasts that lived in the canyon all retreated to the side at this moment, their eyes filled with fear. The inner demons waved his hand, and a wave of divine power rolled out, crossing the void in the canyon. Rumble! Immediately, it was as if something had collided with the divine power, and an ancient stone door appeared. The inner demons lowered his arms, looked at Demon Ancestor and the others, and said, "That's the gate to the ancient world, go in." "See you later," Dong Zhengyang said to the inner demons, then turned around and led everyone into the gate to the ancient world without looking back. Soon, the stone door was hidden in the void again. The inner demons finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fire Python couldn't wait to ask, "Brother Qin, what happened?" He opened the gate to rebirth, and now only a trace of consciousness is left. "This time, I came to the miracle to send those people into the ancient world, and to find a way to wake him up and let him cultivate again." The inner demons looked at Fire Python and said. Fire Python's expression froze. The inner demons asked, "Brother Fire, do you have a way?" Fire Python shook his head and said, "I really don't have a way, but But what? The inner demons looked at Fire Python expectantly. Fire Python said, Lord Beast God definitely has a way, but now it's a miracle. What about Ice Dragon? The inner demons asked. Fire Python said, it didn't appear on the second floor, so it probably left too. Damn it! The inner demons' hearts sank. Actually, don't have too much hope, because even if you find Lord Ice Dragon and Lord Beast God, they won't help you. Fire Python sighed. No matter what, I won't give up. The inner demons said in a deep voice. I didn't expect that you, the inner demons, would have such deep feelings for this sovereign. How about this, you go to the third floor and take a look. Maybe there's something hidden in the third floor that can save Brother Qin? Fire Python said. Okay. The inner demons nodded then said, while you're at it, look for that damn fire dragon. Fire Python's eyes were also filled with hatred, and said, if you find it, you must help this sovereign kill it. Don't worry, killing it now is as easy as turning over my hand. The inner demon said confidently. Fire Python was stunned, then smiled and said, it seems that you've grown a lot after leaving the miracle. With that, Fire Python brought the inner demons to the altar. Boom! Divine power surged, and the altar quickly recovered. When the altar recovered, Fire Python looked at the inner demons with a serious expression and said, I don't know the situation on the third floor, but I heard from my father that it's a very scary place. You must be careful. I will. The inner demons nodded and stepped on the altar without any fear. Soon, he appeared in an ancient hall. There was nothing in the hall. The door of the hall was also tightly shut. This should be the hall that the Fire Python mentioned before. The inner demons glanced around the hall and muttered to himself. Back then, the Fire Python had told Qin Feiyong that he would appear in a large hall after entering the third floor. This hall was where Small Beast usually stayed. The inner demons walked around the hall and didn't see Small Beast and Ice Dragon. It seemed that they had really left. Then, the inner demons strode to the door of the hall and pushed it hard. However, he found that the door seemed to be fixed to the ground. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't push it open. I'm not even afraid of heaven-defying divine weapons. How can a mere door stop me? The inner demon's aura was fully released, and he punched the door. However, the door did not even tremble in the slightest, much less shatter it. It's so sturdy? The inner demons raised his eyebrows, condensed a blood-red sword, and slashed at the door with all his strength. Clang! Boom! The door didn't break, but the blood-red sword in his hand was knocked back. The inner demons was dumbfounded. At the same time, in the sky above the messy mountains, a man and a beast were fighting crazily. It was Lu Jejin and Ice Dragon. Can you do it or not? It's been several months, and your strength hasn't improved at all? A piece of trash like you dares to threaten this emperor to be your mount. How ridiculous. Ice Dragon's huge eyes were full of contempt. With a claw, Lu Jejin immediately smashed into the ground below like a meteor. His body was dripping with blood. I'm not convinced again. Lu Jejin got up and roared at Ice Dragon. Suddenly, Ice Dragon raised his eyebrows and turned to look into the distance. A trace of playfulness gradually crept into his eyes. Now, seeing that Ice Dragon was distracted, Lu Jejin's eyes lit up. He rushed up like lightning and punched Ice Dragon's head. Ice Dragon calmly raised its tail and slapped Lu Jejin away again. His body was almost torn apart. You actually want to sneak attack me? It seems that you're not only a trash, but also an idiot. Ice Dragon said disdainfully. What are you so proud of? Again! Lu Jejin roared. Whoosh! Ice Dragon instantly pushed him away and joked, I'm tired of playing. Let's find someone else to play with you. Someone else? Lu Jejin was stunned and looked around in surprise. Ice Dragon's claws stretched out in the air and a supreme force emerged. The next moment, a blood-haired youth appeared in front of Lu Jejin. Lu Jejin looked at the blood-haired youth and was slightly stunned. At the same time, the blood-haired youth looked around in confusion. When he saw Lu Jejin, he was also stunned. Big cousin? That's right. The blood-haired youth was the inner demons. Lu Jejin quickly ran to the inner demons and said in surprise, Why are you here? Where's little cousin? The inner demons was about to speak when he suddenly sensed Ice Dragon's aura. When he looked up, there was a trace of joy in his eyes. Ice Dragon didn't leave. That meant there was still hope. What's with that look? Shouldn't you be afraid when you see me? Why do you look like you've seen your savior? Ice Dragon was stunned. Lu Jiajin glanced at Ice Dragon and then at the inner demons. Answer me quickly. Sigh. The inner demon sighed and briefly told him about Qin Feiyong's current situation. What? Lu Jiajin's face turned pale. So this time you came to the divine site to save my cousin? That's right. The inner demons nodded. He looked at Ice Dragon again and bowed. Senior, you're so powerful. Please save him. So you have something to ask of me. Ice Dragon was enlightened. Lu Jiajin looked at the inner demons and gritted his teeth. He looked up at Ice Dragon and said, Old thing, didn't you want me to be your disciple? As long as you promise to save my cousin, I'll acknowledge you as my master. Master? The inner demons was stunned and looked at Lu Jiajin suspiciously. Lu Jiajin said, It's a long story. I'll tell you later. Right now, saving my cousin is more important. Okay. The inner demons nodded. Yes. Chapter 1888. Ice Dragon looked at the two of them, his eyes full of playfulness, and said, This emperor can indeed save Qin Feiyong. When the inner demons heard this, they were immediately overjoyed. Ice Dragon said, Don't be happy too early. Being able to save is one thing, but whether to save is another. Lu Jiajin said angrily, Old thing, I have already lowered my head and agreed to be your disciple. What are you going to do? If you had agreed before, this emperor would definitely save Qin Feiyong for your sake. But now, Ice Dragon chuckled. Bastard, are you going to save him or not? Lu Jiajin roared like a raging beast, instantly rushed in front of Ice Dragon, swinging his fists and crazily bombarding Ice Dragon. Ice Dragon God kept dodging calmly. No matter how hard Lu Jiajin tried, his fists couldn't hit Ice Dragon. Suddenly, Ice Dragon clawed over, and Lu Jiajin was sent flying again, bleeding all over. Seeing this, the inner demons hurriedly used the Xing formula, grabbed Lu Jiajin, and asked with concern, Are you okay? I'm fine. In the past few months, I haven't learned anything, but I've learned how to resist beatings. Lu Jiajin waved his hand while vomiting blood. Resist beatings? The inner demons was taken aback and whispered, You're beaten every day. Not every day, every moment. I've already trained to have a body of copper skin and iron bones. After Lu Jiajin finished speaking, he looked at Ice Dragon and said, What do I have to do to make you willing to help? It's very simple. Ice Dragon smiled, looked at the inner demons and said, If you want to save Qin Feiyong, kneel down and beg this emperor. Kneel. The inner demon's eyes trembled. One must know that from the very beginning until now, he had never knelt to anyone except for his close relatives and elders. Lu Jiajin glanced at the inner demons, then raised his head and glared at Bing Bing. He shouted, Old bastard, do you have to humiliate him like this? Although he didn't have much contact with the inner demons, from Qin Feiyong's character, he could imagine that kneeling and begging was a humiliation for the inner demons. Humiliate. It doesn't exist. I just want to see if he can put down his pride for Qin Feiyong. Ice Dragon said calmly. What's the big deal about pride? As long as you're willing to save me, I don't mind kneeling down to you. The inner demons roared and knelt down in the void with a thud. Ice Dragon was stunned. He actually knelt down? Originally, it thought that the inner demons would resist. Lu Jiajin gritted his teeth and said, He has already knelt down. Can you agree now? Ice Dragon smiled mockingly and said, How can it be so simple? What else do you want? The inner demon suddenly stood up, clenched his hands tightly, and stared at Ice Dragon. Ice Dragon looked at the two and said with a smile, You two fight. Us. Lu Jiajin and the inner demons looked at each other and looked at Ice Dragon suspiciously. Ice Dragon nodded and grinned. Inner demons, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. As long as you can defeat Lu Jiajin, I promise to help you. You want us to kill each other? The inner demons raised an eyebrow. Yes. Ice Dragon nodded. Bastard. The inner demons was furious. Ignore it. Lu Jejin stopped the inner demons and said, It's very simple. I'll lose to you on purpose later. Lose to me on purpose? The inner demons was stunned and said, Big cousin, you are indeed strong, but I'm not weak either. It's hard to say who will win. Why are you still so stubborn? I'm doing this because I don't want to waste time. Lu Jejin was annoyed. So that's how it is. The inner demons suddenly understood. To be honest, he was really unhappy that Lu Jejin deliberately let him win. Because he was confident that with his own strength, he could defeat Lu Jejin fair and square. But Lu Jejin was right. There was no time to waste here. Ice Dragon looked at the two with a hint of ridicule in his eyes and said, Let's begin. Before Ice Dragon finished speaking, the two attacked at the same time. The inner demons raised his arm and slapped. Lu Jejin also threw a punch without dodging. Boom. In an instant, the fist and palm collided. Lu Jejin screamed and was sent flying on the spot, blood spurting out of his mouth. The inner demons looked up at Ice Dragon and said, I won. Lu Jejin stabilized his body and looked at Ice Dragon, saying, I've tried my best, but I'm not as good as you. Ice Dragon's mouth twitched and roared. Do you think I'm an idiot? Even if you're pretending, shouldn't you at least pretend? Hearing this, the two of them looked embarrassed. No matter what, I've lost. Moreover, you didn't set a rule in advance that we have to fight seriously. A big shot like you shouldn't go back on your words, right? Lu Jejin said. The veins on Ice Dragon's forehead popped out. He actually forgot to set the rules. How careless. It's very embarrassing to go back on your words. If word gets out in the future, it's inevitable that people will laugh at you behind your back. Lu Jejin said meaningfully. In other words, if Ice Dragon dared to go back on his words, he would spread the news and see who would be embarrassed then. Ice Dragon couldn't help but gnash his teeth when he heard that. Not only did he scheme against it, he even dared to threaten it? Hee. Suddenly, the Ice Dragon grinned and looked at Lu Jejin. Kid, your plan is very good, but you have underestimated my strength. Lu Jejin had an uneasy premonition in his heart. With my strength, who in this world dares to talk about me behind my back? Of course I don't care. You want to scheme against me, right? Alright. Today I'll play with you. Now, I'll change the rules. You two must kill each other, otherwise, don't expect me to help you. Ice Dragon snickered. Two brats who were still wet behind the ears dared to play tricks in front of it. They were really overestimating themselves. Kill each other. Lu Jejin and the inner demon's eyes trembled. This matter seemed to have gone too far. The inner demon said, Big cousin, what should we do? It doesn't seem to be joking. Old bastard, don't think that I'm joking. If you provoke me, I'll really spread the news. Lu Jejin roared. Go. I'm not stopping you. Ice Dragon smiled playfully. You? Lu Jejin was so angry that he trembled. He had never seen such a shameless old bastard. Cut the crap. Start immediately, otherwise, I'll kill both of you. Ice Dragon shouted, its bell-like eyes flashing with a terrifying murderous light. Okay, I'll do as you wish. Lu Jejin flicked his sleeves, turned to look at the inner demons, and shouted, For my little cousin, I won't show mercy. Bring it on. The inner demons looked at Lu Jejin and said word by word, Me too. Boom. Divine power rolled out. Following closely, the two of them rushed towards each other like comets, their auras soaring to the sky. But at the moment when they met, Lu Jejin suddenly stopped and smiled at the inner demons. You must save my little cousin. What? The inner demon's eyes trembled, and hurriedly braked and stopped. It turned out that Lu Jejin didn't intend to make a move. In other words, Lu Jejin couldn't bear to attack him, so he gave up. So this is our big cousin. Although we haven't seen each other many times, he's really good to us. The inner demons murmured. Don't hesitate, kill me. Lu Jejin shouted. Back in the sealed land, you've already sacrificed yourself to save us. How can I bear to kill you now? Heart Demon let out a low sigh and retreated decisively. She raised her head to look at Ice Dragon and shouted, "If either Lu Jijin or I have to die here, I'm willing to use my life to end this farce." After the inner demons finished speaking, he raised his arm without hesitation. Divine power surged out, and he slapped his forehead. With a cracking sound, the inner demon's skull was shattered into pieces. Fresh blood gushed out like a fountain. What? Ice Dragon was shocked. This scene was simply out of his expectations. Lu Jijin also didn't expect that the inner demons would choose to commit suicide. After regaining his senses, he quickly ran to the inner demons, hugged the fallen inner demons, and said angrily, "Didn't I ask you to kill me? Why are you so stupid?" The inner demons laughed, "If I kill you, I'll definitely blame me." In fact, he had thought of activating the slaughter zone. However, he could feel that even if he did, he wouldn't be able to defeat Ice Dragon. Ice Dragon's strength was far from what the Snow Python and Qin Yuan could compare to. One must know that Snow and Bloodblade, these heaven-defying divine weapons, were suppressed in the latrine by Ice Dragon back then. Now that he had left Qin Feiyang, he couldn't enter the Black Tortoise world and collect enough blood in an instant. He sensed the aura of many fierce beasts nearby, but each of these auras was extremely terrifying. They were far stronger than the fierce beasts on the second floor of the Divine Ruin. He couldn't kill many in a short time. As for Ice Dragon, he would definitely not allow him to start a massacre here. Therefore, instead of making these meaningless struggles, he might as well be straightforward. Perhaps this could even move Ice Dragon. "I'm willing to do this. Why would little cousin blame you?" Lu Jijin roared. Tears gushed out, blurring his vision. "I'm the inner demons. My death is not regrettable. But you're different. You're our big cousin. If you die, not only me, but I will also be very sad. In the future, I'll have to trouble you to take care of that idiot. Because he's the same as me. He will not hesitate to sacrifice his own life for the people around him." The inner demon's voice was extremely weak. His life fluctuations were also quickly dissipating. "Don't say anything. Don't say anything," Lu Jijin roared. His divine will sank into the inner demon's sea of consciousness, and his teeth cracked. The inner demon's divine soul had already been torn apart. And it was dissipating. "Save him. In the future, I'll do anything you want me to do." Lu Jijin looked up at Ice Dragon and shouted. Ice Dragon was silent. It lowered its head and looked at the two of them. There was an indescribable emotion in its eyes. "I beg you, please save him. He didn't do anything wrong. He just wanted to save people. I beg you, please be kind and save his life." Lu Jijin roared in despair. "Big cousin, don't beg it. You're the son of our great Qin. You can't give up your dignity for me. Also, you have to be careful of Dong Xingyang. This person's goal is definitely not that simple." The inner demons grabbed Lu Jijin's arm and said with all its might before collapsing. His life fluctuations also completely dissipated. Chapter 1889. Inner Demons. "Old bastard, is this the ending you want? I hate you. I will never forgive you for the rest of my life." Lu Jijin raised his head and stared at Ice Dragon. He roared hysterically as tears fell from his eyes. Sigh. Ice Dragon sighed. It really didn't expect that the inner demons, the source of evil, would actually give up their dignity and life for others. This completely subverted its understanding of the inner demons. Below. Lu Jijin withdrew his painful gaze, picked up the inner demons, and walked away step by step. "Where are you going?" Ice Dragon frowned. "No matter the cost, I will save the inner demons. As for my little cousin, I will find a way to save him, even if I have to pay with my life." Lu Jijin lowered his head and looked at the inner demons, and said without turning his head. "With just you? The beasts here are at least perfect war god. If you leave me, you will die." Ice Dragon's eyes were full of disdain. "You don't have to worry about it. Although my current strength is not as good as yours, one day in the future, I will definitely surpass you. At that time, I will make you beg for mercy in front of me like a dog." Lu Jijin said word by word and disappeared from Ice Dragon's sight. "You really boast shamelessly." Ice Dragon shook his head. Whoosh. The next moment. It disappeared without a trace. The second floor. After the inner demons entered the third floor, the fire python continued to coil next to the altar and closed its eyes to rest. Whoosh! Suddenly, a terrifying aura emerged. Who is it? The fire python immediately opened its eyes, and a fierce light flashed in its eyes. But when it looked up, its expression suddenly changed, and it respectfully said, "Greetings, Lord Ice Dragon." Ice Dragon frowned. "Are you the one who let Qin Feiyong's inner demons enter the third floor?" The fire python's body stiffened, and it quickly crawled on the ground, saying, "I know my mistake, please forgive me." Its heart was extremely panicked. He had thought that the ice dragon had already left the divine ruin, but to his surprise, it was still on the third floor. The ice dragon looked down at the fire python and shook its head. "Forget it. I won't argue with you this time. But if you dare to act on your own in the future, I won't let you off easily." "Thank you, sir, for your mercy." The fire python hurriedly kowtowed and thanked him. Its entire body was already dripping with cold sweat. The ice dragon waved its claw and a pill appeared in front of the fire python. The pill was glowing with a myriad of colors, with 10 dragon-shaped pill chi swirling around it. That's right. It was the dragon-shaped core chi. And there were 10 of them. "This is?" The fire python looked at the pill in shock. Ice Dragon said, "Don't worry about what pill this is. Send it to Qin Feiyong immediately." "Send it to Qin Feiyong?" The fire python was shocked. This was too unexpected. The ice dragon actually saved Qin Feiyong? One had to know that back then in the sealed land, Ice Dragon had attacked Qin Feiyong and even nearly killed him. Wait a minute. There shouldn't be any problem with this, right? The fire python's eyelids twitched as it hurriedly sized up the pill. "What are you thinking?" The ice dragon raised its eyebrows. Nothing. The fire python quivered and hurriedly shook its head. "Do you think I don't know what you're thinking?" The ice dragon rolled its eyes and said proudly, "Let me tell you, this pill can not only wake up Qin Feiyong, but also let him regain his cultivation." "What? Regain his cultivation?" The fire python was shocked. It originally thought that even if this was really a life-saving pill, at most, it would only wake up Qin Feiyong and let Qin Feiyong cultivate again. However, it didn't expect that it could actually let Qin Feiyong regain his cultivation. Regaining one's cultivation base and cultivating anew were two completely different concepts. Cultivating again was starting from the beginning. And regaining cultivation was directly restoring the previous cultivation. In other words, as long as Qin Feiyong took this pill, he would be able to restore his cultivation to the initial stage of the war god. It could be said that for Qin Feiyong, this was a great fortune. However, the more it was like this, the more the fire python suspected Ice Dragon's intentions. How could Ice Dragon help Qin Feiyong like this? What was the reason? Lu Jiajin? Inner demons? Wait, where are the inner demons? Why did only Ice Dragon come out? The fire python's heart skipped a beat. It raised its head to look at Ice Dragon and asked carefully, "Lord, may I ask, where are the inner demons now?" "Inner demons?" Ice Dragon pondered for a moment and sighed. "He's dead." "What?" The fire python's gaze trembled. Ice Dragon looked at the fire python with a smile that was not a smile and said, "Since you're so concerned about the inner demons, it seems that your relationship with Qin Feiyong is quite good." No. I was just asking casually. Please don't think too much about it." The fire python hurriedly said. "That better be the case." Ice Dragon snorted coldly and said, "Go and come back quickly. If anyone asks, just say that the inner demons and Lu Jiajin are both dead." "Yes." The fire python respectfully replied and said, "But Lord, the altar in the Sea of Reincarnation is only a one-way teleportation. How do I get out?" Ice Dragon said, "Nonsense, of course it's to open the door to the miracle." Although we Guardians don't need the 10 clusters of alchemy fire to open the miracle, if we open the door to the miracle now, I'm afraid it will cause a commotion in the 2 continents. After all, the miracle will only open once every 10,000 years. The fire python said. Ice Dragon was slightly stunned and nodded. "That's true." After pondering for a while, Ice Dragon pointed at the altar next to the fire python and said, "How about this? This emperor will link this altar with the altar in the Sea of Reincarnation. Linked together? The fire python was stunned and said, wouldn't this become a two-way teleportation? Yes. This will be convenient for you. If you're bored in the future, you can also go to the two continents to relax. Ice Dragon joked. I wouldn't dare. The fire python shook its head like a rattledrum. Back then, the fire dragon wanted to leave the miracle, which was why the golden small beast removed him as a guardian. Ice Dragon's eyes flashed with a sinister smile. What does it matter? Didn't you say that if this emperor doesn't say anything, who will know? The fire python smiled bitterly. Lord, please don't tease this lowly one anymore. Even if this lowly one had 100 guts, I wouldn't dare to have such thoughts. Ice Dragon laughed. You didn't fall for it. Looks like Boss Frog didn't choose the wrong person this time. You're a qualified guardian. It's indeed a pit of fire. The fire python muttered in fear. Fortunately, it could resist the temptation and didn't listen to Ice Dragon. Otherwise, it would have ended up like the fire dragon back then. Ice Dragon waved its claw and a palm-sized token appeared and flew to the fire python. This is? The fire python was suspicious. I'll send you out. When you give the pill to Qin Fei Yang, crush this token and you'll be able to return to the miracle. Ice Dragon said. Thank you, Lord. The fire python hurriedly bowed and thanked it before putting away the token and the pill. Although the altar in the Sea of Reincarnation could directly enter the miracle, it was troublesome to run around. Remember, don't stay. Ice Dragon waved its claw again and the fire python instantly disappeared. Great Qin. Sea of Reincarnation. After the inner demons and the others left, Qin Yuan and the snow python didn't leave. They stood at the bottom of the sea and looked at the dim altar, thinking about their own matters. But suddenly, their eyes trembled and they hurriedly rushed out of the sea. They saw a fiery red beast floating in the sky. It was the fire python. It looked around curiously. This was the first time it came to this unfamiliar continent. The fire python's cultivation wasn't strong. It was an early-stage god of war. However, Qin Yuan and the snow python both felt a great pressure from it. Qin Yuan asked cautiously, May I ask who you are? The fire python sized up Qin Yuan and the snow python and said in surprise, There's actually such a strong person in this place. It seems that you're the guardians of this place? Yes. Qin Yuan nodded. The fire python smiled and said, Then we're on the same side. On the same side? Qin Yuan and the snow python looked at each other, their eyes filled with suspicion. The fire python said, I'm the guardian of the miracle. Guardian of the miracle. The snow python raised its eyebrows. Qin Yuan was also surprised and said, You're the guardian of the miracle? Yes. I've just been appointed. The fire python said. Qin Yuan said in realization, So that's the case. I was wondering why I didn't have any impression of you before. The previous protector was my father, said the emperor. This time, I'm here under orders. May I ask if this is Great Qin or Forgotten Continent? The fire python asked. I'm here under orders. Qin Yuan and the snow python didn't dare to be slow and hurriedly said, This is Great Qin's Reincarnation Ocean. So this is the Reincarnation Ocean. The fire python nodded and glanced at the surrounding ocean and asked, Where is Qin Fei Yang now? Fei Yang? Qin Yuan's expression changed. Was he here under orders or for Fei Yang? Could it be that the golden small beast wanted to harm Fei Yang? The snow python's eyes flickered. The fire python looked at them and asked suspiciously, Is there a problem? Qin Yuan said calmly, I won't hide it from you. Fei Yang is already dead. Already dead? The fire python was stunned and looked at Qin Yuan curiously and asked, Can you tell me what's your relationship with Qin Fei Yang? I'm not related to him. Qin Yuan shook his head. The fire python said playfully, If you're not related, why are you protecting him? I'm not protecting him. Qin Yuan hurriedly said. Enough. Stop pretending. The inner demons have already explained everything to me. Qin Fei Yang is not dead. The fire python said. This, Qin Yuan didn't know what to do. You're lying to me. Do you know what the consequences would be if I were to report all of this to Lord Divine Beast? I'm afraid both of you will die. The fire python said with an unfriendly expression. I wouldn't dare. Qin Yuan hurriedly lowered his head and said. The fire python shouted. Then quickly bring me to see him. Okay. Qin Yuan nodded. The fire python looked at the snow python and said, You don't have to follow me. Yes. The snow python respectfully replied. Although Qin Yuan and the snow python were also guardians and were stronger than the fire python, there were different levels of guardians. The fire python, the guardian of the miracle, had a higher status than them. Qin Yuan waved his hand and swept up the fire python. In an instant, they arrived above Iron Ox Town. Then, he looked at the fire python with a nervous expression. Because the villagers of Iron Ox Town had all been resurrected, the town was no longer as deserted as before. The villagers were united and rebuilt the town. Their faces were filled with happy smiles. However, they didn't notice Qin Yuan and the fire python in the sky. Chapter 1890. High up in the sky. The fire python looked at the nervous Qin Yuan and shook its head with a smile. Don't be nervous. Actually, I'm friends with Brother Qin. Friends? Qin Yuan was stunned. Yes. Brother Qin and I got to know each other after a fight. And this time, I'm not here to harm Brother Qin. I'm here to save him. The fire python said. Save Fei Yang. Qin Yuan's body trembled as he asked. How? The fire python said with a smile. Lord Ice Dragon gave me a divine pill, saying that it can help Brother Qin regain his cultivation. Qin Yuan was overjoyed and quickly bowed. Thank you, Your Excellency. The fire python said, I'm just a runaway. If you want to thank someone, you should thank Lord Ice Dragon. Qin Yuan asked suspiciously, Then why does Lord Ice Dragon want to save Fei Yang? I don't understand. But I guess it should be related to the inner demons. Not long ago, after the inner demons entered the miracle site, they immediately went to the third level. Not long after, Lord Ice Dragon appeared and asked me to send the divine pill. The fire python frowned, looking confused. It seems that it's really the inner demons' credit. Qin Yuan sighed and said, Then why did you look like you came with ill intentions? It's because of the snow python. I can see at a glance that that guy has ill intentions, so I deliberately put on a show. The fire python smiled. I see. Qin Yuan nodded and smiled in admiration. Your Excellency is really insightful. Actually, to be honest, we've heard rumors about you. What do you mean? The fire python was curious. Qin Yuan said, You know Mu Tianyang and the others, right? Yes. It was this emperor who personally sent them to the ancient realm. The fire python nodded. Before they entered the miracle site, they said that Fei Yang has a good relationship with the current guardian. And when Fei Yang was in the miracle site, you took care of him. However, I haven't seen you with my own eyes, so when I saw you for the first time, I didn't dare to make a judgment. And you know that we guardians can't decide many things by ourselves. That's why I hid the truth from you just now. Qin Yuan said. That's true. In the eyes of outsiders, we guardians have powerful backers and are very impressive. But in fact, we don't have the freedom to choose. For example, if Lord Beast God gave the order to kill Brother Qin, I would have no choice but to obey. The fire python sighed. Yeah. Qin Yuan nodded. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. Lord Beast God, they're everywhere. If they hear us, we'll be in big trouble. Bring me to see Brother Qin. The fire python said. This old man will go. Go in that direction. It's only about 1 or 2 li away. When you see a lake, Fei Yang is there. Qin Yuan pointed in the direction of the lake. The fire python looked at Qin Yuan deeply before releasing its spirit consciousness. Very quickly, it found the location of the lake. Without lingering any longer, it appeared above the lake in a flash. Qin Yuan stood in the sky above Iron Ox Town. With a wave of his hand, the scene by the lake appeared in the void before him. In front of the courtyard, everyone didn't disperse. There was a worried look on their faces. The fire python glanced at everyone. A smile appeared in its eyes as it muttered, I didn't expect there to be so many people who care about Brother Qin. Swish! Suddenly, several figures flew up into the sky. It was Zhao Tai and the others. Looking at the fire python, their faces were full of surprise. The fire python smiled, "Long time no see." Zhao Tai was surprised. "Why are you here? Isn't it for Brother Qin?" The fire python shrank its body and said, "Take me to see him." "All right." Zhao Tai nodded and hurriedly flew down with the fire python. "Greetings, Lord Guardian." Fatso and the others who were familiar with the fire python bowed one after another. "No need to be so polite." The fire python smiled. Under Zhao Tai's lead, it went straight into the wooden building. At this moment, in the room, in addition to Lu Qiuyu and the mermaid princess, there were several other people. Di, Emperor Hong, Lu Yun, Emperor Chen, Tan Tai Li, and Second Grandpa. They were all Qin Feiyong's close relatives. When Zhao Tai led the fire python into the room, the group of people was shocked. Zhao Tai quickly explained, "Everyone, don't be nervous. This is the guardian of the miracle. He is a very good friend of the young master." Tan Tai Li stepped forward and bowed to the fire python. She asked suspiciously, "Lord, what are you doing here?" She had already seen the fire python in the sealed place. The fire python glanced at her and flew above Qin Feiyong. Divine sense poured into Qin Feiyong's body. After a careful inspection it sighed, "The inner demons really didn't lie to me. According to the current situation, there is nothing that can wake him up." Inner demons? Everyone was stunned. Zhao Tai was surprised. "Lord, the inner demons have already entered the miracle?" The others were also suspicious. "Don't you know?" Everyone's reaction made the fire python a little stunned. "I don't know." Zhao Tai shook his head and said, "He said that he would go to the Forgotten Continent, but I didn't expect him to go directly to the miracle without saying a word." "I see. It seems that he didn't want you to worry, so he didn't tell you. I have to admit that he is really a loyal inner demons." The fire python sighed. "Then where is he now? Why didn't he come back together?" Zhao Tai asked. The fire python hesitated and said, "We will talk later. I will save Qin Feiyong first." "Save Feiyong?" Lu Qiuyu and the others heard and looked at the fire python in unison. The fire python took out the divine pill and said, "Who are you? Let him eat it." The mermaid princess shuddered and quickly grabbed the divine pill. She gently pried open Qin Feiyong's lips and put the divine pill in. Everyone immediately looked at Qin Feiyong. Their nervous expressions were filled with anticipation. Boom! Not long after the divine pill entered Qin Feiyong's mouth, a majestic energy roared out from Qin Feiyong's body. And around his body, there were 10 dragon-shaped core qi dancing. 10 dragon-shaped core qi. This is no longer just a divine pill. Zhao Tai muttered. Tang Hai and the others, who came in later, were also shocked. Emperor Hong asked nervously, "Lord Guardian, what kind of pill is this? Can it really save Feiyong?" The fire python said confidently, "Saving him is definitely not a problem. After all, it is a peerless divine pill bestowed by Lord Ice Dragon." "What? This was given to you by the Ice Dragon?" Zhao Tai was shocked. "Yes." The fire python nodded. "How is this possible? Back then, the Ice Dragon almost killed the young master. How could he be kind enough to save the young master?" Zhao Tai and the others who knew about it all had faces of disbelief. Bas! Suddenly, the 10 dragon-shaped core qi dancing in the air entered Qin Feiyong's glabella one after another. The fire python hurriedly sank his divine consciousness into Qin Feiyong's sea of consciousness. The 10 dragon-shaped core qi merged with the last trace of Qin Feiyong's consciousness one by one. After the fusion was complete, strands of divine consciousness continuously emerged. 100 strands. 1,000 strands. 10,000 strands. 30,000 strands. 50,000 strands. In less than 10 breaths, 100,000 strands of divine consciousness were born in Qin Feiyong's sea of consciousness. Following that, 100,000 strands of divine consciousness intertwined and merged. Finally, a pocket-sized person suddenly appeared. This pocket-sized person was only about the size of a thumb. Its appearance was exactly the same as Qin Feiyang's. That was right. This was Qin Feiyang's soul. His soul sat cross-legged in the center of his sea of consciousness, holding a 9-leaf fire lotus in one hand and a crimson battlesword in the other. At the same time, there was also a purple-gold divine dragon that circled his soul and danced in the air. His entire person looked like a god. The appearance of his soul means that the young master has been saved. No, he's about to wake up. That's not right either. Zhao Tailai's body trembled. He was so excited that he could barely speak. Boom. As soon as Zhao Tailai finished speaking, a surge of divine might surged out of Qin Feiyang's body. However, it was not strong. However, it was growing rapidly. Meanwhile, 3 types of divine powers surged out of Qin Feiyang's empty sea of qi like a tidal wave. The divine phoenix saber hovering in his sea of qi absorbed the divine dragon's power that it had not felt for a long time. The divine might was even more terrifying. The entire wooden building was shaking violently. The people and beasts gathered in the courtyard outside looked up at the wooden building in shock. When the blood Qilin saw that the situation was unfavorable, it hastily formed a crimson barrier around Qin Feiyang. Looking at Qin Feiyang's sea of consciousness again. After the divine soul appeared, the 4 forms of the divine dragon's secret art also appeared one after another. Boom! Finally! The divine might emitted by Qin Feiyang had reached the peak of the initial stage of War God. However, it did not stop. It was still soaring. What's going on? Everyone was surprised. The fire python's eyes were also filled with disbelief. Could it be that the divine pill that Lord Ice Dragon gave Qin Feiyang could not only save Qin Feiyang but also increase his cultivation? Thinking of this, the fire python once again sank its divine sense into Qin Feiyang's sea of consciousness. It immediately saw waves of divine sense being born like waves and absorbed by the divine soul. Sure enough, it's really a blessing in disguise. The fire python whispered. About a few hundred breaths passed. Boom! Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's aura suddenly soared to the initial stage of War God. And the divine soul that was originally only the size of a thumb had grown to the size of a baby's fist. The growth of the divine soul would change with the increase of cultivation. In other words, the stronger the cultivation, the bigger the divine soul. Haha. It's really like the saying, those who survive a great disaster are bound to have good fortune in the future. Zhao Tailai raised his head and laughed, tears streaming down his face. Swish! Right at this moment, Qin Feiyang's tightly shut eyes abruptly opened. 2 resplendent rays of divine light shot out from his eyes. Feiyang! Young master! A group of people immediately swarmed forward, surrounding the bed so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Mother? Grandfather? Grandfather? Father? Great-grandfather? Second grandpa? Mermaid princess? Qin Feiyang glanced at the familiar faces. His eyes gradually became confused, and asked suspiciously, I'm not dead. Yes, you're not dead. It's the guardian of the miracle that saved you. Lu Qiuyu nodded repeatedly, tears falling uncontrollably. The rest of the people were also crying tears of joy. The suppressed emotions in their hearts burst out. Chapter 1891. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I never thought that I would hurt you. The mermaid princess lay in Qin Feiyang's arms, her face full of self-blame as she cried bitterly. Qin Feiyang looked at the mermaid princess, then looked at everyone. After a long while, he finally recovered. He really didn't die? But, when he opened the gate of reincarnation, he clearly felt that his body and soul had dissipated and merged with the gate of reincarnation. It was a child who used the heart of origin of the Black Tortoise realm to reconstruct your body. Then the fire python sent you a divine pill. Not only did it allow you to regain your cultivation, but it also allowed you to break through to the level of a war god. Zhao Tailai said. Child. Heart of origin. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He checked his cultivation and found that he had indeed stepped into the level of a war god. The mermaid princess was already in tears. Qin Feiyang calmed himself down, raised his arm, and held the mermaid princess's face. His eyes were incomparably gentle as he smiled and said, Silly woman, this isn't your fault. Why are you blaming yourself? But the mermaid princess shook her head. All right. So many people are watching. Don't cry. Qin Feiyang smiled. The mermaid princess was stunned. Only then did she realize that there was still a large group of people around her. Her face immediately flushed red. Qin Feiyang said, "Help me up." The mermaid princess nodded. She grabbed Qin Feiyang's arm with one hand and supported Qin Feiyang's back with the other. Qin Feiyang slowly sat up, leaned against the head of the bed, and looked at everyone apologetically. "I'm sorry to have made you worry. What are you saying? You are our child. If we don't worry about you, who should we worry about? Moreover, you sacrificed yourself to save us. We are already very upset. But fortunately, you are fine. Otherwise, we would blame ourselves for the rest of our lives," Lu Qiuyu said. Qin Feiyang looked at his mother and then looked at the others. He had never felt so satisfied before. Because he finally had a complete family. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the fire python that floated above him. He smiled bitterly and said, "Brother Hua, you've saved my life again. Tell me, how should I repay this great kindness and kindness?" The fire python glared at Qin Feiyang and said, "Don't treat me like an outsider by saying this between us. However, this time the one who saved you was not me." "It's not you?" Qin Feiyang was taken aback. "Yes. It's the inner demons and the ice dragon." The fire python sighed. "Inner demons? Ice dragon?" Qin Feiyang frowned. Suddenly, his eyes trembled. He exclaimed, "The inner demons went to find the ice dragon?" "Yes." The fire python nodded. "Where is he now?" Qin Feiyang asked. The fire python hesitated and sighed. "He's your inner demons. You should be able to feel it." Looking at the fire python's expression, Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He immediately closed his eyes. How could this be? Soon, he opened his eyes. His gaze was dull. No matter how far away he and the inner demons were, they could sense each other's existence. And they could also communicate with each other through their minds. But at this moment, he couldn't feel the existence of the inner demons. There was only one explanation for this situation. The inner demons were dead. "It seems that you've figured it out. Then I don't need to say anything more. But I have to tell you about Lu Zhejin's situation. He's dead too." The fire python said. "What? Jiner is dead too?" Second grandpa and the others' expressions changed. "Yes. This is what the ice dragon said. It shouldn't be false." The fire python said. "How could this be?" The old masters of the Lu family swayed. Their faces were pale. The fire python looked at the few of them. Then it looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "This emperor has already done what Lord Ice Dragon instructed me to do. It is time for me to leave. Rest well for a while. This emperor will wait for you at the Divine Trace." Qin Feiyang exhaled and looked at the fire python with a smile. "Thank you. I won't see you off then." The fire python nodded and took out the token. After crushing the token, the fire python quickly disappeared. Qin Feiyang withdrew his gaze and glanced at everyone. He secretly sighed. Originally, because of his rebirth, everyone was very happy. But now, because of the inner demons and Lu Zhejin's death, they were in grief. Indeed, before the first wave had subsided, another wave had risen. Qin Feiyang looked at the mermaid princess and said, "Let everyone calm down for a while. Accompany me for a walk." "Okay." The mermaid princess nodded. She helped Qin Feiyang up and left the room. Zhao Tailai and the Blood Kirin looked at Lu Qiuyu and the others. They sighed and silently followed Qin Feiyang out. "Young master. Boss Qin Feiyang." Seeing Qin Feiyang walk out, Yan Wei, Ren Wushuang, and Ling Yunfei were all overjoyed. Qin Feiyang looked at them one by one and smiled. "Thank you for always being with me. We should be the ones thanking you. If it wasn't for you, we would have all become lonely ghosts." Everyone laughed. Qin Feiyang smiled and nodded at the mermaid princess. The mermaid princess helped Qin Feiyang out of the yard. Everyone consciously retreated to the side, but when they looked at Qin Feiyang, they were puzzled. Why did Qin Feiyang look so unhappy? "Old Zhao, what's going on?" Yan Wei whispered. The inner demons and Lu Jijin are dead. Zhao Tailai sighed. What? Yan Wei and the others' faces changed. Big brother. Lu Zheng's face turned pale. By the lake. Qin Feiyang stood next to a green rock, motionless as he looked at the lake. He was silent. The mermaid princess was very obedient. She quietly accompanied Qin Feiyang. After an unknown amount of time, Qin Feiyang suddenly covered his face and cried. The mermaid princess wanted to comfort him, but she didn't know where to start. I have been sensing for a long time, but I still can't feel the inner demons. He is really dead. Qin Feiyang murmured, his face twisted in pain. Feiyang. Looking at Qin Feiyang's appearance, the mermaid princess felt as if a knife was being twisted in her heart. Do you know? They must have died to save me. I came back to life, but they are dead. I really don't know why God is doing this to me. What did I do wrong? I opened the gate of rebirth to protect the people around me, but now... I really didn't want it to be like this. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Little drops of tears flowed through his fingers. The mermaid princess also couldn't help but comfort him. I believe that they have no regrets. Don't blame yourself, okay? Don't blame myself? I really can't do it. Qin Feiyang shook his head. After a long time he lowered his arm, looked up at the sky, and murmured, The ice dragon saved me. I should be grateful to it, but I won't let it go. Feiyang. The fact that the ice dragon brought you back from the dead means that its strength is far beyond what you can compare to. Don't do anything stupid. The mermaid princess hurriedly advised. Qin Feiyang turned to the mermaid princess and said, Don't worry, I know what to do. I will live well and not let down the inner demons and big cousin. The mermaid princess sighed in relief. Qin Feiyang reached out and hugged the mermaid princess. A smile appeared on his face. I've wronged you all these years. I swear, I won't let go in the future. You can't escape from me either. The mermaid princess's cheeks blushed. She snuggled in Qin Feiyang's arms and said, I won't let you leave me. Even if you say that I'm shameless, I will still cling to you. Thank you for always loving me, Qin Feiyang murmured. The mermaid princess raised her head and looked into Qin Feiyang's eyes. She smiled and said, I also thank you for always thinking of me. The two hugged each other affectionately. The two's figures were reflected on the surface of the lake. A gentle breeze blew, blowing their hair and clothes. At this moment, everything seemed to be frozen in place, becoming an eternity. The lovers finally got married. Yes. After going through so much, the young master finally opened his heart. To be honest, I'm not used to hearing the young master say such mushy words. But the young master still hasn't learned. In such a loving atmosphere, he didn't even kiss her? Looks like I have to teach him how to be a real man. Zhao Tailai, Willow Tree, Li Jian, Yu Huang, and the others hid behind a rock not far away. They secretly looked at Qin Feiyang and the mermaid princess and whispered, Big brother, why did you leave me? Can you come back? I promise I'll listen to you in the future. I'll do whatever you ask me to do. At the same time, on a small hill behind the courtyard, Lu Zheng sat alone on the grass. He hugged his head and cried softly. Not far away, a woman in white stood silently beside a small tree. She looked at Lu Zheng with a trace of pity in her eyes. This woman was none other than Lu Hong. Previously, after Qin Feiyang and the mermaid princess left, Lu Zheng also left silently. Originally, Lu Hong wanted to see Qin Feiyang, but she thought that with the mermaid princess accompanying him, she didn't need to worry. So she followed Lu Zheng all the way here. She didn't expect that this man, who usually looked frivolous and like a big boy, would have such a fragile side. I'm sorry, I don't know how to comfort you. I'll always be with you. Lu Hong walked over and lowered her head to look at Lu Zheng. She sat beside Lu Zheng and whispered, Thank you. Lu Zheng murmured and slowly leaned his head on Lu Hong's shoulder. Lu Hong didn't resist this time. Instead, she raised her arm and gently hugged Lu Zheng's head. Lu Zheng pondered for a while and said, We've known each other for so long. You still don't know about my past, right? Lu Hong nodded. Lu Zheng really didn't talk about these things before. My parents died many years ago, and they died right in front of me. Do you know? At that time, I felt like the whole sky was collapsing. At the same time, I also hated them. Do you know who I hate? It's my little cousin. However, although my parents are dead, I still have a big brother who loves me. He has always been by my side, encouraging me and enlightening me. I slowly walked out of my sadness and let go of my hatred for my little cousin. The eldest brother is like a father to me. After my parents died, my eldest brother was like a father to me. He is the person I care about the most. Lu Zheng said. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.